explained but will be handed over to the coroner. New details of the sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed today when reports are published on his activities at NHS hospitals. A report into Stoke Mandeville Hospital in Buckinghamshire has been delayed until the autumn, but Hertfordshire's Leavesden Mental Hospital, which closed in 1995, is expected to be included today. More from Jane Draper.
More than 100 people have come forward to these various inquiries, giving reports of how they were sexually assaulted or treated inappropriately by the BBC presenter on NHS premises. The reports are expected to identify opportunities that were missed for Savile's offending to be confronted. Much of the focus today will be on independent inquiries at Leeds General Infirmary and Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital. A third key report on his activities at Stoke Mandeville Hospital has been delayed after new information recently came to light.
The head teacher of a Hertfordshire school has paid tribute to a former nursery worker who's died in a road crash in Turkey. 53-year-old Valerie Orton from Stevenage had worked at St Christopher School in Letchworth for 18 years. Head Richard Palmer says she was a much-loved and respected friend, teacher and colleague. Her friend Alison Conroy from Welwyn Garden City was also killed in Sunday's crash. A new pond in Watford Town Centre has had to be repaired just days after it was officially opened by TV presenter Mary Portas. The water feature, the centrepiece of a multi-million-pound makeover of the parade, turned a shade of green and was branded a cesspit by people on Twitter. The council says there have been teething problems with the water filtration system. Steve Dilks is from Friends of Watford Pond.
The teething problems are the same as the problems that they had before this pond was actually restructured. We know what's best, but they don't know the groundwork, they don't know the structure, they don't know the pipes, the problems with the water, the plants that were in there. It is all about decoration and show.
In sport, the president of Uruguay has defended Luis Suarez following the apparent biting incident at the World Cup. FIFA is still considering what action to take. The weather fine and dry with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 20 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
You're only about 2 minutes from being in the countryside.
And all this week we're featuring Welwyn and Digswell.
There's a lot of local things going on.
One of the focuses for that is Welwyn Festival, which is 10 days of about 70 events.
It's all about where you live.
Love it. It is charming.
Love it.
I love it.
The big tour of
I love
beds,
it.
hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
I love it.
I love it. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. There's something, a spark, a whisper, an energy, an electricity in the air today that can only mean one thing. It can only mean one thing, Justin.
Go on, boss.
A feisty show.
Yes.
You up for a bit of feist?
Oh, absolutely, boss.
Can you deliver feist?
Yes, I can.
OK, I'll be with you in a second. That's Justin Dealey. He's coming up very, 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 very soon. That's Catherine Boyle.
Hi.
You won't be hearing from her at all today. And here's Shaggy.
Hello.
There we go. OK, right. That kind of... Do it again, Ben, but with a bit of... And here's Shaggy.
Hello.
Australian sarcasm. Wow. Lots coming up, including bad news for drama students in Tabbards, OK news for people who like ponds, and as you've heard, great news for Scooby-Doo fans. Shaggy is answering the phones.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
084... The whole team's here, apart from Kelly Betts. 08 and Paul Scoins. The whole team is here, apart from Kelly Betts and Paul Scoins and Tony Fisher. The whole team is here. 08 459 455 555. And Craig Lewis isn't here. Not many people are here, actually. Ewan Duncan's definitely not here. But if you've got any questions for any members of the team about your garden, now's a great time to give us a call. 08 459 455 555.
I've been in this town so long that back in the city I've been taken for lost and gone and unknown for a long, long time. Fell in love years ago with an innocent girl from the Spanish and Indian home of the heroes and once a night, Cotillion Square divided, and she was right in the rain of the bullets that eventually brought her down. But she's still dancing in the night, unafraid of what it do. and sunny down snuff, I'm alright by the heroes and
That's how you start a show. Brian Wilson would not release that record until his astrologer told him it was the time to release it. And then it flopped. 08459 455 555. Now, Hemmel's cracking down on chuggers, in a move which could set back charities who rely on persuading shoppers to sign up for direct debits. I can't understand why anybody would give their bank details to an out-of-work drama student wearing a tabard in a high street. I don't understand why any... Could you understand that, Justin?
No, I can't, actually.
Some annoying... do you know what? And I say this with the greatest of love and respect. These people used to be beautiful women, hot young men, right?
Yeah.
They used, and the hot young men would go after the women and would flatter them, and the beautiful young women would go after, old men like me and flatter us, and then... Now they'll just get any old munter. They will. They'll just get anybody to do it. And why would you give a stranger your bank account details?
I don't know. Do you know what? I just find the whole thing so cringeworthy. It really is. I was actually in Hemel last Friday, and somebody comes running up to me on the street. Oh, what a lovely watch you've got there, sir. And I just thought, for goodness sake. And for me personally, I want to give to charity, but when I see somebody with a brand on their T-shirt, they're representing a charity, and they're coming up to me in that fashion, that says to me that I will never give to that charity at any point in my life because of that negative experience.
Justin,
but that's just me.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. Matt Lockwood has just burst into the studio. What's wrong, Matt?
Where's my bag?
Sorry?
Where's my bag?
I've got no idea, Matt. I'm trying to do a radio show, mate.
Well, I'm trying to prepare my story.
OK, well, I'm doing a radio show. I'm talking to Justin Dealey. Unbelievable.
What a crazy cat.
We'll be talking about Matt Lockwood later on as well. Unbelievable. I'm doing a flipping radio show, mate. Anyway, they're talking about this because Hemel is cracking down. From now on, you'll only have to run away from them 2 days a week in the Marlow shopping centre, in a move that's backed by the local government minister, Brandon Lewis. Justin, does the minister... does he want to get rid of chuggers completely?
No. He feels that it will be unfair to punish respectful charity collectors and prevent people who want to donate from being able to do so as and when they like. So recently, Birmingham Council, that they tried to ban them completely there in the city centre, but Brandon Lewis, he intervened. He said that Birmingham, they should work alongside the charities to agree, let's just say, an acceptable way for fundraisers to behave. So while he agrees that chugging can be very unpleasant, he feels that councils should address any problems by drawing up local agreements rather than taking some of these good causes off the streets. And it would certainly seem that the minister has got a point. Research by the Local Government Association suggests there are 75% fewer complaints about chuggers in areas where councils have negotiated with charities to reach an agreement about acceptable behaviour.
So what's the plan for Hemel? What's going to happen there?
Well, Dacorum Borough Council, they follow the minister's advice and they've signed an agreement with the Public Fundraising Regulatory Association.
Oh, the old PFRA,
huh? Yes.
Oh, those guys.
Yep. to manage direct debit street fundraising in the town, specifically in the Marlows, where I had my incident only last week about my watch. Now, the idea is to strike a balance between allowing people to go about their business without being chased by these chuggers, whilst respecting the fact that direct debits are something charities, of course, need to go out looking for if they're going to survive. So, from now on, direct debit fundraising will be available in the Marlows just 2 days a week, and they must act in accordance with the Code of Fundraising Practice issued by the Institute for Fundraising. Now, this doesn't apply to cash fundraisers, so if you're shaking a bucket or a collection tin, you can do it whenever you like, as long as you've got a licence from the council.
Here's the thing, OK? You know when you see people with tins and buckets? They've changed the law. They're not allowed to shake tins and buckets.
Well, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, is it?
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm sure that a number of people love to give loose change to a charity. Doesn't really affect their pocket. They might have 20 or 30p spare they can put into that bucket. Well, if you don't hear the bucket, how are you supposed to know they're there?
Well, you can see the bucket.
Well, not really.
You can see an old woman holding a bucket.
But if you're walking through a busy shopping centre like the Marlowe's, lots of people there, if you can hear somebody shaking the bucket, you're more than likely to donate.
And I am more than likely to put some money in a bucket. I would never sign over my bank details. You've been asking people about this, Just. What have they said?
Yes, I was in Hemel yesterday, and I asked people what the chuggers are like in their town.
A nightmare.
Seriously that bad?
Yeah, they just harass you. Even if you don't want to talk to them, they just harass you, pretty much follow you, walk down the road with you. So you can't get away from them, really. And they just keep going until you pretty much end up telling them to swear at them, pretty much, and then they finally get the hint.
So have you done that?
Yeah, definitely.
You don't feel bad for doing that?
No, because if they're going to harass me, they're going to get in there, they're going to get abuse. So if they don't want the abuse, don't do it.
They've been cut down to 2 days a week. Probably a good thing if you're abusing them. You must be delighted about that news.
Yeah, I am actually. I wish I'd stop full stop, really.
They're really in your face. You walk up the high street, they're there. You walk back up the high street, they're back in your face again. Another one. So, yeah, they're always there.
You must be delighted about this news. They're only going to be here 2 days a week. Bit of peace and quiet for you.
Very much so. I can go out on my lunch break without having people hassling me all the time.
You can take me out for lunch.
You could take me out for lunch.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Anthony, these chuggers, are they a real pain in the backside?
Yes, definitely. Really, really, definitely. You just get mugged everywhere. You just can't do anything about them. You try and go to one side of them, I have to go through the Marlowe's just to circumnavigate them, just to get out of the way.
So you have to go indoors to avoid them?
Yes, definitely. It's ridiculous. Absolutely fed up with it.
They're a little bit better than they used to be, but they are very much in your face.
What do you think about those people who do sign up to charities on the street, whether it be here or anywhere else?
To be blunt, they're complete idiots.
Why are they idiots?
Well, why would you give your personal details to a stranger in the street? It's just ridiculous and just complete idiots.
Well, there we go. There's the question. Are you an idiot if you sign up to a chugger?
According to her, yes, you absolutely are.
The thing as well about these chuggers, and I guess it's the nature of charities to a certain extent, is that you're paying their wages. When you sign up, I don't know what the percentage is, but when you sign up, a portion of the money you're giving is paying that chugger.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, as we mentioned in the introduction, charities need money to survive. But I just think a number of people...
Well, they're charities, Justin, yeah.
They are, but I think the way things have gone over the last few years, in my opinion, is just wrong. If you're walking through your high street, you don't want to think of a charity as it's just wrong. You know, if you want to give to a charity, you will give to a charity. Most people listening who donate once a month, they will give to a charity because they have a connection with a charity. If it's a cancer charity, somebody in their family would have died of cancer. But the way that these chuggers go about their business, when you are simply walking down your local high street,
You're just wearing a nice watch.
But what's my watch got to do with a charity?
It's their in. Justin, thank you very much. I often get followed down the street, Catherine, by these suckers.
Oh, you're that bloke off the telly. You're minted.
Yeah, I've had that. And I said, ta-ta, no thank you. Never go for the handshake either, because they never let go.
No.
Nah. You wouldn't give your bank details to a stranger in the street, would you?
No, and I don't engage with anyone in the street who says, hello, you're looking lovely.
Because you know that's a lie.
Exactly.
08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. In Milton Keynes on the Standing Way, there are roadworks at the Kingston roundabout at the moment, so expect delays there, especially at peak times. Also in Kingswood on the A41, they're building a new roundabout between the Grendon Road and the Creighton Road, so there are temporary traffic lights there at the moment. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. 6:17, it's Thursday the 26th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlowe's shopping centre, a shopping area, 2 days a week. Police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman. And new details of the sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed today when reports are published on his activities at NHS hospitals, although a report into Stoke Mandeville Hospital has been delayed until the autumn. If you want to have your say on chuggers, give me a call. Maybe you are one, you've been one, maybe you're a fan of them and you think they're great. I bet this morning we do not find one person who thinks that those chuggers are a good idea. 08459 455 555. And coming up, you live in Watford? Have you been in Watford? Have you seen the new sort of pond and fountain scenario they've got there? What do you reckon to it? Well, some people, including the next gentleman coming up, are very, very angry about it.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 3.
Spend your afternoons talking about beds, hearts and bucks.
It's an amazing venue. If you haven't been to Amstel Park, get along. It's absolutely beautiful.
Discussing the biggest stories.
In terms of our people, we've invested £5 million to recruit new nurses.
In the company of friends. Howard Berry, Ian Brown, Amanda Devlin. Amanda, what have you been watching this week?
I went to the Happy Days.
And debating the week's hottest topics.
The biggest problem is actually lack of money, lack of opportunities, poor availability of training.
The use of CCTV spy cars to catch people who park illegally is to be banned.
Roberto Perroni, weekdays from 3. BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, so Matt Lockwood has joined me in the studio. And, Matt, two things.
Yep.
You're still upset about your bag.
Yeah, where's my bag?
You threatened to come under my desk in a minute.
I'm going to come under your desk.
OK, well, I can assure you that the bag is not
Let's
there.
have a look now. Come on, I'm coming under your desk.
OK.
No, my bag is not under your desk.
I'm a 41-year-old father of two. I have not hidden your bag in this studio. And also, have you printed off a script for me? No, I'm going to read it off the screen, am I?
Yeah, you read it off the screen.
OK, well, this is... I know this has got you... this is quite a serious point, and this has got you very upset over recent times. The focal point of a multi-million-pound makeover of the parade in Watford has had to be repaired just days after its official opening by Mary Portas. The new pond was branded a cesspit by people on Twitter after the water turned green. You can go to the Facebook page. We've got the picture on the Facebook page, I think, facebook.com/BBC3CR, and have a look. Well, reporter Matt Lockwood, who lives in Watford, has been banging on about this for ages. The water, I'm guessing, wasn't meant to turn green, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. The council's installed a water filtration system to keep the water clean. The old pond was looking shabby, the water dirty. It had been neglected for years. So the idea was to give the people of Watford a pond they could be proud of, a pond that I could be proud of. Oh, I was going to take a breath. Right.
Are you proud of this pond?
No.
OK.
This was part of a £4.3 million makeover of the town centre.
You wrote this script, did you?
I did,
I'll read it as it's written, shall I?
Yeah.
You've been posting pictures of the pond on Twitter.
Just because you can't speak English properly. Yeah, when I saw the pond last week, the water was clear. I reiterate, the water was clear. And then when I went back this week, the pond had turned a bogey green colour. Now, the paving around the pond was covered in bird droppings. Don't laugh. This is serious, Ian. The new decking was covered in bits of bread. I could go on, and I will. An owner let his dog urinate next to me. It's not funny, it's serious. This is my big moment. What are you laughing for? Anyway. This is serious, Ian. None of the fountains...
An owner let his dog urinate.
Yes.
Did you not move?
I did, but obviously the dog doesn't respect the new paving or the new pond. Now, none of the fountains were switched on, and the only ducks I could see was a giant heron. Now, play that... No, don't play that clip. Ask me a question.
A giant heron?
Yes. A giant...
This is like pantomime, but not funny. Go on, yes.
A giant heron.
A giant heron?
It's a living plant, to be precise.
So not a giant heron?
No. Well, it is, but it's a plant. Some people on Twitter have referred to it as emu. I thought it was a fountain at first, and water was meant to gush out of its bright yellow beak. Now, this person... Get ready for the clip. Get ready for the clip.
Yes, I'm ready.
This person thought the council were having a laugh.
I don't think it will last very long, but it is funny. If it's meant to be funny, it's great. See, it's got a stupid beak.
It's just a living plant.
A lot depends on how much it cost. 2 or 3 of them, a family, might be quite fun.
It looks a bit lonely, doesn't it?
It looks funny.
You think that's a joke then? You don't think that's going to be there permanently?
Oh, I could imagine it could be there for a while. I don't think it'll last. Somebody will climb that.
What will climb it?
People out the pubs.
Right. So people out of the pubs will...
It is inviting. It's even got a seat.
So drunken yobs will come out of the pubs and start riding the heron? Yes, they will. Now, you got to ask me a question now, Ian.
Riding the heron?
Yes.
And all this talk of riding the heron...
Yep.
Well, all this talk is you.
Well, it's her as well.
All this talk of riding the heron, it does, on a serious note, come just days after the official opening by the Queen of Shops, Mary Portas.
Yes, she was in town on Saturday for the big launch. Now, there was music and entertainment, and everyone seemed to be having a good time.
Except for you.
Well, I wasn't there.
Oh.
Now, the event was captured, luckily, on film by the Watford Observer. Now, Mary said the new pond was central to the council's efforts to rejuvenate the town centre.
I'm a bit worried when I drove in and I saw into Watford. What happened to the Harlequin? Then also the pond. Of course we needed it. What else do you fall into? No, not really, after a few drinks. The pond was a central part and it was wonderful.
Well, OK, so that's Mary Portas, the Queen of Shops. What have the locals been saying, the paupers of shops, about the pond?
Right. And that wasn't in the script. Anyway.
I'm freestyling now.
Well, OK. Well, I've been told that the council were in a rush to get the water feature completed before Mary Portas arrived, so certain things may have been overlooked in a bid to make up for delays to the project. Now, Steve Dilks is from the Friends of Watford Pond.
From the what, sorry?
The Friends of Watford Pond.
OK.
You'll be speaking to him later on.
Good.
He's not surprised there's been problems.
There was, I think, way over a month, the deadline. They'd already started doing rehearsals for a part that they wanted to do on the bridge for some opening ceremony, so they had to have it up and running no matter what it looked like.
And that's the problem there, isn't it? That they were in a rush to get this completed.
Yeah.
And no matter what it looked like, it had to open on that day.
Yeah, there's going to be teething problems. There will be a lot of problems, but the teething problems are the same as the problems that they had before this pond was actually restructured. They will not go away.
Should the council have foreseen those teething problems?
Well, yes. If anybody who knew anything about the pond in itself would know what the problems are, but the problem is those people aren't consulted. We know what's best, but they don't know the groundwork, they don't know the structure, they don't know the pipes, the problems with the water, the plants that were in there, the wildlife that was in there. It is all about decoration and show. That is all that this pond is.
And that's the thing, you know, you see things in towns, don't you, and they don't look like they're going to be there in 5 years' time. Now, the drone in the background is a contractor's, because I've been following this on Twitter, and the council seem to have been responding to that and saying, oh, we'll get this pond fixed.
Yep.
Now, Steve also told me that the group were never properly consulted about the new pond. Now, he believes it won't be a haven for wildlife, like the council are promising. He says the fish will never return.
Oh,
it's too open and could attract drunken yobs, as it's right next to a nightclub. Now, others I spoke to, Ian, said the pond could be a potential death trap.
Gosh.
Well, you can drown in 6 inches of water, so under the right circumstances, yes. You can't see it, you can't see.
The alternative boggles the mind. Watford's always had a pond, it ought to keep one.
I think the main thing I have wrong with this is no safety rail, because it was there.
And as I say again, the contractors, they were making their noise.
You don't have to say it again. You explained it.
Right.
You got very upset in the meeting yesterday, or the day before, because there is no barrier around the pond.
There is no barrier now.
But what pond... Name one pond that has a barrier around it.
That's not the point.
Well, the point,
no, it's not.
It is the point.
No.
Ponds don't have barriers around them.
As you said, you know, as that woman said, you know, kids could potentially fall in the pond. You know, they can't see it. They can't see the edge of it. And I've seen families. I've seen families, and they have little children, and they're having to grab the little children so they don't go too near the pond.
That's life.
Well,
You're constantly having to do that when you've got kids.
Maybe, but you know, some people are not happy, including me. Now, there's a bridge.
What do your kids think?
There's a bridge. I don't have kids.
Then why are you bothered about it?
I'm bothered about this pond and making sure it's right. Now, there's a bridge that goes over this pond. Now, it lights up when darkness falls.
Nighttime?
Yeah.
So it lights up at nighttime.
So some locals can't see the point of it.
Oh.
They say it looks too functional. It was designed by consultants. So hardly a ringing endorsement there either.
OK, what have the council had to say about this?
Well, they wouldn't speak to you live this morning, Ian.
Oh.
Perhaps they're a bit embarrassed by what's happened.
They might be busy.
They might be busy, I'm sure they are. Now, they've put the problems down to a fault with the pond's water filtration system. Now, the pond has been emptied and refilled after it was filled up before, Mary Porter's came into town. And since we put calls in yesterday, the council has sent us another update.
Oh, OK, let's have that latest update.
So this is
here we go, latest update.
Hot off the press.
Yep.
The filtration system's now up and running.
Yes.
And so people will see a vast improvement in the appearance of water.
That is wonderful news.
So it should look less green in a week's time, so I shall be back down there, and hopefully that water will be clear again.
I'm beginning to, and I know this responsibility doesn't fall on my shoulders, Catherine, it falls on yours, as you are the producer of this show.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking this is a weekly feature. Matt's pond update.
Yes.
Matt's pond update?
Pond Life with Matt.
Pond Life with Matt. You up for that?
Yeah.
And that would make up for the fact we are going to be doing a phone-in about you later on, Matt.
Right. Really? Where's my bag?
I don't know where your bag is.
Look round the other side.
No, wait, I've not finished talking to you. Where's he going? I've not finished talking to you. Matt, you're very, very reluctant. You're a nice guy.
Yeah.
You're very reluctant to make cups of tea for anyone. This morning...
This is not true.
He'll make them
This
for
is
himself.
not true.
He'll make them for himself.
Make tea for myself.
This morning he said, I'm making a cup of tea just for me, not for anybody else. And he went off and he made a cup of tea.
And he meant it.
He actually meant it. There was no irony. There was no... So what we're going to do, Matt, you are the king of selfish tea makers.
See, I make Tony a tea every day.
Tony's
every
not
day.
here, mate.
Well, and so I ain't
Get
got
your
that
tongue
much
out of
love
Tony
to go
Fisher's
around.
crevice.
I've got that
Put
much...
it in mine.
I don't want to go anywhere near your crevice. I'd like to touch your face, but I'm not going anywhere near your crevice.
You can put your tongue on my face.
Can I?
No.
Come on.
But so what we want you to do this morning, listener, and Justin's going to go out. Justin's going out and doing a Vox about you.
Really?
We want you to, phone up and criticise Matt for his selfishness, but more importantly, we want you to name and shame those people in your workplace who are just like Matt, in that they'll kind of sneak off. I'm just going to the loo, and then they'll kind of sneak back with one cup of tea that they've made for themselves, and they've not done it for anybody else.
And if you live in Watford, you're not happy with this pond...
So what we're going to do with Matt?
Call in.
A weekly feature.
Yeah, Pond Life with Matt, where we just get an update on the pond.
7:50 every Friday.
Well, you were talking about a doctor...
What do we do Thursday? What do you want to do?
It's got to be Monday, because this new water filtration system has to bed in, and we're told that it will improve the appearance of the water, so hopefully by next Monday...
Why has it got to be Monday, though? Why can't it be next Thursday or Friday?
I suppose that is a week, isn't it?
Yeah.
OK, so next Thursday, then.
OK, we'll see you then.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully the water will be clear, but I'm not
Don't
overly...
spoil it, Matt.
Are you going to go and ride the heron?
I'm going to ride the heron. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that will ride the heron. This is a genuine concern of people coming out to these pubs and nightclubs and climbing onto this heron.
We know, Matt.
Yeah.
You've just done the piece.
Have I? Right, well, people might have just tuned in.
Go and have a look.
Shall I start again?
Go and have a look behind Jan's desk. There's a little surprise for you.
The water wasn't meant to turn green, was it, Matthew? No, it wasn't, Iain.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Looking on the speed sensors, things building up at the Park Street roundabout now. The North Orbital as you head away from Chisel Green looking quite busy at the moment. Also on the sensors in Bedford, the A6 looking a little busy as you head towards the centre of town, but it all seems to be moving at the moment. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. The emergency services are at the scene of a house fire in Bletchley. Bucks Fire and Rescue Service say 2 gas cylinders have exploded and 2 people have been taken to hospital. A cordon is in place. Firefighters were called to Turnberry Close at around 4:45 this morning. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. Police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford. And new details of the sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed today when reports are published on his activities at NHS hospitals, although a report into Stoke Mandeville Hospital has been delayed until the autumn.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The president of Uruguay has defended Luis Suarez following the apparent biting incident at the World Cup. The team's captain had an angry exchange with a BBC reporter, denying any biting took place. FIFA is still considering what action to take. Dan Rowan is in Brazil.
FIFA's disciplinary committee will have been made all too aware of the fact that the world is watching, and I think the image of the sport is very much at stake. Luis Suarez has previous. He received a 7-match ban when at Ajax for biting an opponent. The 10-match ban when he bit Branislav Ivanovic of Chelsea when playing for Liverpool last year, but this is on an altogether different scale.
On the field, 2 goals from Lionel Messi helped Argentina to a 3-2 win over Nigeria. Both teams go through. France drew 0-0 with Ecuador last night, but won their group with Switzerland second after beating Honduras 3-0. France will play Nigeria. Argentina will face Switzerland in the last 16. This afternoon, a draw for Germany against the USA would send both through. At Wimbledon, wins for Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic yesterday. Murray dropped just 2 games, but knows there are tougher encounters ahead.
You're going to get tested during the tournament. Sometimes that happens in the first round, and sometimes it can happen semi-finals, or it can happen at any moment in the tournament. You just have to be ready for it and expect it before every single match.
Today, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer are in second-round action. British number 1 Heather Watson is also on centre court. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
So just clarify again. Matt Lockwood is actually employed as he's actually a reporter.
Yeah, proper journalist.
Wow.
I know. Isn't he brilliant though?
He's brilliant. It's a great
I didn't
story.
think I would care that much about pond.
It's a great story. If you know
a heron. I really want to write that.
Oh man alive! I want to get on top of that heron. If you know the pond in Watford. If you know the pond in Watford and you are as concerned as Matt Lockwood is, 08459 455 555, maybe you think it looks great.
Or maybe you've seen it this morning. Can you tell us about the green status of it?
When I lived in Slough many years ago, and they built a fancy new fountain outside the Queensmere shopping centre, and the day after it was opened, and for every day since then, I've noticed it's gone now, kids were putting in washing up liquid. So it was always green and bubbly. It was always green and bubbly.
But isn't that fun?
Yeah.
That's the community taking pride.
Do you know what, actually?
In a way.
People would isn't it funny how you get like a bowl of water in a town and people toss money into it?
Yes.
People just put money into it. I might get a wish come true. I wanted to buy the second album I ever wanted to buy, on my own. And I would have been about 14. And I didn't have enough money.
No.
Yeah, I stole people's wishes. On a freezing cold November night, it was freezing, the water was freezing and it was dark. I put my hand into the fountain outside Slough, Queensmere, and I got enough money to top up what I had already to go and buy my Monkeys Best Of double album. Got enough money to go and buy it. It was £7.49, that double album.
So in a way, your wish came true.
My wish came true, thanks to... maybe all those other people were wishing that a young man would find his destiny in that fountain, and I did.
Yeah.
Also, let's name and shame people who don't make cups of tea at work.
Yeah.
I notice...
Too few brews.
Well, you.
Yeah, well, I'm too busy.
You're not too busy.
I'm often too busy.
I send
holding this sinking ship together.
As I'm driving into work, I often pull over...
And send me an abusive text.
Send you an abusive text, and I come in, and often that text is ignored. Today, you put the kettle on and left it.
Well, you said put the kettle on.
No, I said do it.
It was on.
I said do it.
I did it. It's beef.
I'm just saying you could do more for the morale of the team.
Yeah. Or I could write your cues.
Ben, what are you like, Ben? Are you good?
I'm pretty generous, I think.
Yeah?
You are. You're quite good.
Are you?
There are some people in this office, when they offer me a brew, I don't want one. Mostly because it's horrible.
Yeah. Name and shame.
No.
Name them.
No.
Name them.
No, because I might want one day.
So
even if it's horrible.
Ben, you're good, are you? I make a good brew, I do. I'll make one in a little bit. Test me.
His girlfriend's a Scouse, you see, so he can make a proper northern brew.
He said in a little bit, though. Why?
All right, I'll do it now if you want. Are you thirsty?
We're always thirsty.
Listen, if you
need to learn.
If you have to ask the question, then you have to make hang on. If you don't
do the rhyme, you have to do the time.
You did the rhyme. You did the crime. You smelt it. You dealt it.
Yeah, you've got me there.
Got him there.
Provided and supplied it.
Yeah.
See what I did?
You started. You farted.
Oh no.
No. Is that not it?
We were adapting.
Okay, right.
Not just saying.
Anyway, so 08459. Oh, actually, don't call now because Shaggy's gone off to make a cup of tea.
Yeah,
cough, please.
Give him. How long do you reckon? 10 minutes?
It'll take him ages. Should we have a record?
Yeah.
And then we'll look in the Pappers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, this one I introduced to my kids the other day with the video.
Did they like it?
It blew their tiny minds.
On looking flash and grabbing your attention. The devil take your stereo and your record collection. The way you look, you'll qualify for next year's old age pension. Stand and deliver your money or your life. Try the mirror like a blade or a knife. I'm the dandy highwayman, so sick of easy fashion. The clumsy boots pick up the ropes that people think so dashing. So what's the point of robbery when nothing is worth taking? It's kind of tough to tell a scrap the big mistake is making. Stand and deliver your money or your life. Try the mirror, like a blade or a knife. And even though you fool your soul, your conscience will be mine. Oh, mine. Philosophies where only showbiz loses. We're the dandy highwaymen and here's our invitation. Throw your safety overboard and join our insect nation. Stand and deliver your money or your life. Try the mirror, like a bullet or a knife. Even though you fool your soul, your conscience will be mine. Oh, mine.
It's Adam Ant and the Ants, number one in the hit parade.
And suddenly I'm 5 again.
I interviewed Adam Ant when no one would touch him. Everyone wants to touch him now. No one would touch him because he was a loose cannon. And he came on my radio show, and he was peculiar. He's damaged goods. He wouldn't walk into the building until my producer went up to the door and met him. But my sister used to love Adam Ant. Just love him.
But he was Disney beautiful, wasn't he?
Yeah. And so I got him to phone up my sister and leave a message on her answer phone. And she woke up the next day and she phoned me. She went, "Oh my God, was that really Adam Ant? He left a message." I said, "Yes, it was." He's like, All right, Joe. It's Adam Ant here. I hope you're okay.
Yeah, he's a bit young David Essex, isn't he?
He is. He was very. Then I got him in again, and she came. I got him in just so she could come in and meet him, and he was charming. And then I introduced him live at a gig, and he was very rude to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was very rude to me, but he's damaged goods, you know. So, but he's good, Adam Ant. You can't knock him. He puts on a good show.
Brilliant.
Puts on a good show.
And they were doing something different.
Oh, Adam Ant! What's in the papers? Not a lot. Can I just tell you the two health front pages? Ban fruit juice at dinner time, says the Daily Mail, where vitamin D cuts blood pressure, says the Daily Express, and sunshine is the best way to get your dose. Woo!
But on the Daily Express it says autistic boy healed by his love of horses. What, so he's not autistic anymore? Let's go to page 23.
Can you
Or they just found something he's really interested in.
Yeah,
and it's opened him up.
I would say he could be healed by having a haircut. I mean...
Oh, no, he's
come
lovely.
Come on, guys.
No, he's cute. 12-year-old Rowan Isaacson, confident enough to present a film on his web channel of a trip searching for bears in Transylvania with his author and filmmaker father, Rupert.
Filmmaker father.
Handy.
There we go. The
achievement's more remarkable in itself, but is more so if you learn that 10 years ago, when Rowan was diagnosed with autism, his parents were told to expect nothing from their non-speaking and socially isolated son. It just goes to show you can tap into something. There's, if you can find it, then there's hope.
What do your kids drink at dinner time?
I tend to give them water.
Yeah, we give them water at dinner time. Occasionally they have a glass of orange juice.
They don't have a load of orange juice. They have it very, very very infrequently, and it's really weak, so kind of not worth it, to be honest.
Yeah, they have orange juice. Oh, do they? They don't have those...
Try some crackers.
Yeah. What? No, but proper orange juice, not Sunny D.
No, well, no, a bit of, Robinson's, whatever.
Oh, really? Oh, no, we give them proper orange juice.
Yeah, they have that in the mornings.
Parents should ban juice from the dinner table. Experts warned
do they mean juice or do they mean cordial? Because I get confused with this southern juice.
No, juice has got loads of sugar as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently, it turns out, guys, everything you were told when you were young is wrong. It's a lie. Fruit juice is bad for you. I was always told fruit juice is good for you, but it's bad for you. Children should be given only water or milk.
So what? We don't eat fruit anymore.
You should cut down on fruit. I'm guessing. They point out fruit juices are helping fuel sharp rises in obesity rates, type 2 diabetes and heart disease.
Okay. Right, listen, if they're having a pint of juice at a time, then you've got to worry about it. But a little bit, for heaven's sake. You could always water it down if you're that bothered. Just give them loads of water during the day.
Did you write this? This is the
Is it me? Does it say "and that" on the end of it?
It's not... Well, yeah, it's not... How do you do your accent? Do your accent for me so I can do it.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh.
It's not a good idea to wean people on the habit of expecting sweet beverages all the time.
Oh.
Kids... Oh, no, I'm reading the wrong paragraph.
Is this what I sound like to you?
I snotted. This is you. We need to reintroduce the habit of people putting a jug of water on table and drinking water with their food instead of some sort of fruity beverage. Don't put pop on the table. That's you.
I am not a Geordie, or I don't know what that was.
That was a northerner. That was a generic northerner.
Because we're all the same.
Yeah, very much so.
All sliced off the same barm cake.
I don't understand what you're saying. Do you want to do one more story, then we'll do the travel? Ben's not set up the travel or the weather. Ben, you need to come and set up the weather. What are you doing messing around with cups of coffee for? You plum. Take your time.
We did that. We made him go up. We bullied him.
Yeah, he should have stood up to us. He's failed the test.
Oh, dear.
Suarez in the papers.
Yeah, and people have done amusing pictures
Funny pictures of him as Jaws,
or
as Hannibal. Yeah, that's a good one. Or as Dracul.
Apparently the Uruguayan president saying he saw nothing. I didn't see it.
Yeah, well, we've got to
saw it. I wasn't watching the match.
Got to trust those Uruguayans. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 London bound between junction 11 for Dunstable and 6 for the M25, looking heavy in patches at the moment. And then the M25 itself anti-clockwise, slow going between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. Also very slow at the moment between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. On the speed sensors in Hitchin, the A505 looking busy as you head towards the centre of town. Public transport, no reported problems there. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. 6:46, it's Thursday the 26th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The emergency services are at a scene of a fire in Bletchley. 4 homes have been evacuated after gas cylinders exploded in a garage in Turnberry Close. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. And police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford. If you want to give us a call, you can. 08459 455 555. Name and shame those lazy, selfish tea makers at work. And also, if you're aware of the fountain. Is it a fountain or is it just a pond? It's just a pond. There's no fountain.
Is there a fountain, Matt? This pond of yours?
Is there a fountain there?
The fountains are not switched on yet.
But they will be.
Well, who knows?
Do you know? No.
Well, the hope is that they fix the pond. So they've sorted out the water filtration system, and the next stage, hopefully, will be to switch on the fountains.
Do we know when that might be?
No, we don't.
OK. Tune into Pond Live with Matt Lockwood next Thursday at 8. No, at 7:50.
Yeah. Has the water changed colour? Have the fountains been switched on?
Okay, we'll
have
find
the
out
fish
then.
returned?
Matt,
3 questions next week.
Matt, you're standing just a little bit too close to Catherine. She looks uncomfortable.
I enjoyed it.
Well, I used a special mouthwash this morning because I thought this might...
OK, right. Let's get the weather with Sarah.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thanks very much indeed. It's a little bit cool out there this morning, certainly compared to recent nights that we've had. We were well down in single figures in many spots through the night last night, around 7, 8, 9 Celsius. But actually we're starting to see temperatures rising because we've got some good spells of sunshine coming through and a decent day on the cards again. Generally dry through the bulk of the day today. Good spells of brighter sunny weather and in the best of it, top temperature of 19, 20 Celsius. That's 68 in Fahrenheit. But we do have some showers to work their way in through this evening and overnight, and once they come in, that's it for the next couple of days. We'll be talking about showers for tomorrow and for Saturday as well. Certainly we start with plenty of showers tomorrow morning. They're trying to track northwards, so by the afternoon perhaps fewer of them around, but we can't be really too clever actually about where they'll clear away from. So all 3 of the counties are still in the firing line for showers tomorrow afternoon. Between them, top temperatures of 19 or 20 Celsius again. And then showers on Saturday, a number of them and a good chance of seeing them. But on Sunday, things look drier and more settled, Iain.
Every weekday morning.
My show's called The JVS Show, 9 o'clock in the morning on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
I deal with the consumer problems that affect people all over Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
And I said, well, I didn't come all this way to be looking at a broken down hotel.
Those companies, those councils, those organisations that are letting people down.
This guy turned around and said to me that they're not prepared to pay me, and I said, so you're forcing me to take action. And he said, good luck, and put the phone down on me.
I get my teeth into them.
Oh, Jonathan, I'll start crying soon. We don't know what to do.
Deal with them and hopefully get results for you, the consumers.
And it got so convoluted, I thought there's only one person who can sort this out.
The JVS Show on BBC Three Counties Radio.
If you ever mention Dusty Springfield to my mother, do you know what she says?
I'll have a guess.
No, not that. Not that. No, she doesn't pick up on that. I don't think she's even aware of that. She says, what a dirty woman. What
Why?
a dirty, dirty woman. You say, Mum, why? She never used to take her makeup off. What? How do you know that? And B, why is that the first thing you think of when you mention Dusty Springfield?
Do you know what I think of?
Yeah.
Massive hands. Do you know why? You know, she used to gesticulate quite a lot.
Yeah.
She used to write the lyrics on her hands.
Oh, really?
So she was having a little check.
Oh, good. Well, good for her.
Dusty fact.
Here's a very serious story, right, in The Sun. And I don't think The Sun are taking it seriously enough.
Why?
It's called Jack the Zipper.
Okay.
Cops are hunting a serial killer
Oh,
who slaughtered 3 men
nasty.
by slicing off their todgers in eastern Ukraine. Let me read that again.
Is that the end of the thing? And they called it Jack the Zipper.
Jack the Zipper. Cops are hunting a serial killer who slaughtered 3 men by slicing off their todgers in eastern Ukraine. Slicing off their todgers.
Zipper.
They got their willies cut off and they died. So actually what a horrific way to die.
Genital mutilation.
Yeah, what a horrific way to die.
Anyway, allowed them to say todgers, so...
I've had my todger cut off, I'm dying. Still, oh dear. Hey, you watch a lot of TV, don't you?
No. Go on. Seldom get time.
Hang on a second.
I'm a working mother.
Ben, you watch a lot of TV, don't you? Yeah,
I do.
How much TV do you watch?
Too much.
By the way, I've given up on all television series.
All of them?
Every television series I've ever watched, apart from Breaking Bad, has ended up being a load of old guff. Lost.
Yeah.
Wasted 6 years with that rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm now watching Fringe, which is awesome. Oh, it's got really, really
I've
rubbish.
given up on it.
I'm sensing a pattern in that they're American. The American ones, they
Whoa.
string them out to the point where they get ridiculous, and then they finish them because they don't know where to
The
go.
Walking Dead, it got rubbish. The last series...
it's
No, mate.
It's got better.
No, the last series was rubbish.
2 for you that will restore your faith.
I'm not going to watch them.
Please try them.
I don't know that one.
Please try them. Right,
My
one
tooth
of them.
hurts.
Top of the Lake. It was on last year.
Sounds rubbish.
No, it was brilliant.
Is it British?
It's a collaboration.
No.
No, it was brilliant.
No.
Seriously, it was brilliant. It'll have you hanging on till the very last bit, and the last 10 minutes blows your mind. Also, The Returned. That was the one where you're not quite
the
sure.
zombies.
Yeah. Or are they zombies? Or
But
are they ghosts?
there's another
Or are
series
they-
coming, yeah?
I'm not sure.
That series will be rubbish.
I'm not sure whether there is another series.
The 4200, rubbish.
4400.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay. All television series, apart from Breaking Bad, have ended up poorly.
No, I haven't watched Breaking Bad.
Well, you should watch it because it's brilliant.
I've been watching Game of Thrones. That's awesome.
Get ready for the disappointment.
But I quite like Game of Thrones, but I have in my mind that it's a load of old nonsense.
Yeah, but it's nonsense
with the occasional
swords.
bottom thrown in.
Exactly, nonsense.
I
with swords
love
and
bottoms. I really love bottoms.
Although the blonde one now signed a contract that means that she won't get a kiss off anymore.
Oh,
Spoiler.
I warn you now, if you're watching Game of Thrones, it will end in disappointment. It will be.
Yeah,
it'll
but what a ride.
It's everyone says, "Oh, it's the journey, not the destination." Nuts to you. It's the destination. When you want a good ending, they can't do good endings. So I'm going to watch the end of Fringe because I'm only got 6 more episodes to go. I'll watch it. Although you've stitched me up. Well, you know what? They've stitched me up. I might as well go to the end. No television series apart from Breaking Bad ends well. The first killing. Oh right, it was him. Okay, right, next. Yeah, rubbish.
Well,
Utter guff.
I gave you 2, but you're not even going to give them a chance. You'll love them.
The West Wing kind of started on a high,
Yeah.
dipped in the middle,
Yeah.
and then finished on a high.
Well, I don't want to dip in the middle. 24. The last. I've not even watched this one set in London, but the last 3 series of 24 have been rubbish.
Yeah, but it's the same thing every time.
Just not as good. Anyway,
They should just do one-offs. Do an 8-parter, and
films.
that's it.
No, they should do films. Films are good.
Some films are good.
Anyway.
Did you see Congo? Anaconda?
I love Anaconda.
Oh, my goodness, that was the worst
That's
one ever.
J-Lo, isn't it?
I got taken to the cinema to see that. What a load of old...
Oh, you didn't like it?
Oh, it was awful.
Yeah?
It was awful.
Were you scared?
No, it was a stinker. I was scared that I was never going to get that hour and a half back
Anyway,
of my life.
3 hours TV doubles... This is for you, Ben. 3 hours TV doubles early death risk. Let me just
Hang
repeat
on,
that because
okay.
I don't think you've got the message. 3 hours TV doubles early death risk.
Oh.
Earlier than what, though?
Yeah.
You're never going to know.
Watch it. Well, look, I'll tell you. Watching more than 3 hours of TV a day may double adults' risk of premature death.
May.
Let me read that again.
Probably won't.
Watching more than 3 hours of TV a day will double adults' risk of premature death.
If you're eating cheesy nachos at the same time, yes.
Yeah.
But researchers found that spending the same time on a computer or driving do not have the same effect. So I'm going to drive whilst watching television.
What if you watch telly on your computer? Job done. Cheating it.
He's found the loophole.
Yeah.
He's just cheated death.
I saw the Reaper advancing. He's gone, yeah, fair enough.
The boy's a legend. Have you got one first before we...
defiant of mum who took son out of school for her wedding. Smiling in the sunshine picture on page 25 of the Daily Mail of a new husband and wife and her son. I think some schools are using their initiative.
What?
Yes, I know some schools are using their initiative.
You're saying that some schools are allowing pupils out?
I know people who've taken their kids out without being fined.
Because that school weren't allowing that kid to go, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the
and
mum...
they'll say, it's not down to us, it's the government. It's not. It's down to the head teacher.
The mum wanted to get married. I mean, I don't know why she wasn't married to the father of the child before he was born.
She might have been.
Oh, yeah, good point. So she wanted to get married. She wanted to do it in the weekday because it's cheaper and she's tight.
And they went on holiday.
The school said no, and she went, up yours, Dolores, and she took him out for 3 days. Was she right or wrong?
For her own wedding. Right.
No one could argue that was wrong, could they? No one could say...
And I don't like taking kids out of school.
Even in my most contentious, argumentative mood, I couldn't argue that she was wrong to do. Of course you take your kid out for your wedding. Mm-hmm. Of course you do.
What about your brother or sister's wedding? If they were bridesmaids or something?
Yeah.
What about your mate's wedding?
No.
There we go. Job done.
08459 455 555. I'm glad that's cleared up.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the speed sensors in Bedford, the A6 looking heavy as you head towards the centre of town from the A421. Also, the M1 London bound looking slow between junction 10 for Luton and 7 for Hemel Hempstead. The M25 anti-clockwise, very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. Also got delays showing up between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. Public transport, that's all looking good at the moment. We've got no reported problems there. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. I'm seeing on Twitter that they're coming up with new theories about the missing airplane. What's wrong, Catherine? You right?
I've just seen the heron, the Watford heron.
Oh, yeah?
I really want to ride it.
You're going to ride it?
Yeah.
Let's get the we'll put the pictures up on Facebook over the news, and you can let us know if you'd like to ride that heron. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Yeah, on Twitter they're coming up with new theories. And I say they, I mean the BBC are printing these theories on what might have happened to that aeroplane. Missing flight is thought to have been on autopilot before it crashed. How do they know this? And it turns out they were looking in the wrong place. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: homes evacuated after fire in Bletchley, Hemel Hempstead tackling on-street fundraisers, and reports out today on abuse at hospitals by Jimmy Savile.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
4 homes were evacuated following a fire in Bletchley this morning when gas cylinders exploded. Bucks Fire and Rescue Service say 2 houses and a garage have been damaged after the explosion in the garage. No one was injured. The fire is now out, but a cordon remains in place. Firefighters were called to Turnberry Close at about 4:45. They received over 20 calls from members of the public. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. So-called chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. More from Tony Fisher.
An agreement's been signed between Dacorum Borough Council and the regulatory body for charities doing face-to-face fundraising. It aims to ensure a balance between the need for charities to ask for support and the right of residents not to be overly pestered. Also, as part of the agreement, fundraisers must still act in accordance with the Code of Fundraising Practice.
Police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman. The body of the 82-year-old was discovered on Tuesday lunchtime at a house in Latimer in Stony Stratford. The 48-year-old man was released yesterday evening. Police say the death is still unexplained, but will be handed over to the coroner. New details of the sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed today when reports are published on his activities at NHS hospitals. A report into Stoke Mandeville Hospital in Buckinghamshire has been delayed until the autumn, but Hertfordshire's Leavesden Mental Hospital, which closed in 1995, is expected to be included today. Liz Dux is a solicitor representing some of the victims.
Because he was such an important fundraiser for the organisation, and in some cases people were literally laughed off by members of staff, And these were children, some of whom did try and tell their parents, and their parents just could not believe that someone as famous as Savile would have behaved in this way.
The head teacher of a Hertfordshire school has paid tribute to a former nursery worker who's died in a road crash in Turkey. 53-year-old Valerie Orton from Stevenage had worked at St Christopher School in Letchworth for 18 years. Head teacher Richard Palmer says she was a much-loved and respected friend, teacher and colleague. Her friend Alison Conroy from Welwyn Garden City was also killed in Sunday's crash. A new pond in Watford Town Centre has had to be repaired just days after it was officially opened by TV presenter Mary Portas. The water feature, the centrepiece of a multi-million-pound makeover of the parade, turned a shade of green and was branded a cesspit by people on Twitter. The council says there have been teething problems with the water filtration system. In sport, football's world governing body FIFA has told the BBC a decision about the Uruguayan Liverpool striker Luis Suarez should be made within the next 24 hours. Suarez is being investigated for allegedly biting an opponent during Uruguay's World Cup win over Italy on Wednesday. The weather fine and dry with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 20 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
It's happy, it's positive, there's lots of people, there's lots of things going on. It's just charming.
It's all about where you live.
It's still got a real community, you know.
And all this week we're featuring Welwyn and Digswell.
It's a very sociable place.
Got everything you're likely to want. Cafes, restaurants.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
I own this hotel. I do sometimes think we're just doing this show for ourselves. Is this on? Is anybody listening? It don't matter. It don't matter. I'm having fun and I'm getting paid. Wow, bonus. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. What a lot to talk about today. Chuggers, they're being clamped down on them. Is that a sentence?
As people.
Thank you. Are you a fan of the chugger? We've yet to find anybody who thinks they're a cracking idea.
Is there a chugger listening?
They won't be. They'll be doing their vocal exercises somewhere. If there is a chugger listening, 08459 455 555. Why?
It's got to be the most soul-destroying job in the world, hasn't it?
It's got to be up there. It's got to be up there. People still do it.
I was a semi-chugger.
What?
Whoa. Ben was a semi? When was this? How can you semi-chug?
Well, basically, people would get the details on the street and I would phone them up after and say...
Oh, we'll speak to you in a little bit, young man. We'll speak to you in a little bit. You a fan of the chuggers? Ever signed up to them? 08459 455 555. We are getting the latest on what's happening in Watford with the pond, and also there has been an explosion. Where's the explosion been, Catherine?
We have a reported explosion.
A reported explosion, thank you.
Bletchley, we believe gas canisters are involved. We're sending Justin there with more detail.
OK, Justin, make sure you don't smoke any growlers while you're there. We will have the latest on that ongoing situation. And it's Name and Shame Day. Name and shame those people in your workplace who are a little bit selfish when it comes to cups of tea. They'll kind of sneak off to the kitchen and come back with a cup of tea and you're all going, oh, Steve didn't, Steve, you didn't, no, I don't make rounds. Facebook.com /BBC3CR if you want to ride the heron. 81333, start your text 3CR or give me a call 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's ride the heron. Hey, from now on you'll be able to shop at the Marlows in Hemel without being tailed by a student in a tabard. Or rather, you can do that for 5 days out of 7. Dacorum Council is one of 90 across the country to sign up to a new agreement on the way direct debit fundraisers operate. You'll have seen them. They're these young men and women, normally young men and women, always in their sort of early 20s, and they're wearing a tabard that says, you know, the name of a charity. Good morning, sir. You're looking marvellous.
How are you?
Have you got a few minutes? Do you like... My line is, depending on what it is, and I have actually said this to them, I hate children. I hate animals. I've said that to them because they're so. Good morning, sir. Would you like to sign up? I hate children.
I had someone approach me in Milton Keynes the other day saying, "Have you got 5 minutes to save the pandas?"
Ooh.
Might take a bit longer.
Yeah, if that's all you think it's going to take, boy, you're in for a disappointment. Well, from now on, these people can only be in the Marlows 2 days a week, and they must adhere to a strict code of conduct. Love to hear what you have to say about these, whether you're a fan of or not. Justin Dealey went out and spoke to some people in Hemel. They told us they are delighted with the changes in the rules.
Well, it seems you come walking down here and every day there's someone in a red shirt or something, and there's often they're dotted a certain amount apart, and you almost have to walk in zigzags along the street just to avoid them. And it's not that I don't like them, but it's a little bit intrusive, really.
A nightmare.
Seriously that bad?
Yeah, they just harass you. Even if you don't want to talk to them, they just harass you, pretty much follow you, walk down the road with you, so you can't get away from them, really. And they just keep going until you pretty much end up telling them to swear at them, pretty much, and then they finally get the hint.
So have you done that?
Yeah, definitely.
You don't feel bad for doing that?
No. If they're going to harass me, they're going to get in there, they're going to get abuse. So if they don't want the abuse, don't do it.
They've been cut down to 2 days a week. Probably a good thing if you're abusing them. You must be delighted about that news.
Yeah, I am actually. I wish I'd stop full stop, really.
They sit on the floor, like they were outside Specsavers the other day, and they just don't leave you alone. They shout at you, even like if you're walking past or away, and it's really, really annoying.
And when you say no thank you, do they persist?
They carry on for ages. They're horrible. I hate them.
They're being cut down to 2 days a week. Should they be banned?
Yeah, get rid of them. They don't do anything, like, worthwhile, so they shouldn't be here.
Well, they would say, of course, that they're trying to raise money for charity, which is a worthwhile cause.
Well, there's charity shops and people do their own stuff for charity. I'd rather have the leaflets come through my door and give them a reason to do stuff rather than sitting there persistently shouting at you and making you feel guilty for not going, talking to them.
Well, that was Justin speaking to people yesterday. There's no such restriction on bucket and collection pot shakers as long as they've got their licence from the council. Well, in a moment, we'll hear from Peter Maple, course director of the Charity Management Programme at London South Bank University. But before that, let's speak to Barbara Harpham, National Director of the Charity Heart Research UK. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning.
Barbara, what's your stance on chugging? Are you a fan of it or not?
No, Heart Research is a charity is certainly not a fan of it. We do no sort of cold calling or getting people in the street because we just believe people should be able to have pleasant lives and remain unaccosted either on the phone or in the street.
This technique must work, though, otherwise charities wouldn't do it, would they? So do you not feel you're missing out on potential income?
No, I think you've got to live by how you would like to be treated, you treat other people. And yes, we are missing out. But the fact is, I suppose the other thing is that you have to employ an agency. And these agencies employ people who have no affinity to our cause or the cause they're working for on that day at all. They don't know anything about them. They're given a script. And I just think it's a bit disingenuous to get people who have no loyalty to go and ask for money. And the other thing is that it costs for every lead that they get, everybody that signs up, the charity has to pay. And they're quite large sums.
Is that not the way that things are going now? It's harder and harder to get people to volunteer to stand out on the street with a bucket or to go... it's harder for people to get involved with charities. And I guess if it's one of the bigger charities and they can afford to do that, to pay people, is there anything wrong with that?
Well, there are lots of ways of making money. You don't have to go and accost people in the street. I mean, with Heart Research UK, we don't do it, and we manage to fund all our stuff.
How do you fund things, Barbara? What techniques do you use?
We do the things that normal charities do. We get lots of people to help us with buckets, to be honest with you. In fact, more people are volunteering now than ever before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. We also have legacies, events. Online fundraising, people like to get something back for their money now. So, these badges or daffodils or whatever it is, that's growing as well. So there are plenty of other ways to do it without chugging.
Barbara, would you say over the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years, has the money coming in gone up or down? Because we often hear that charities are hard hit in times of recession.
Well, I can only talk about our size of charity.
Yeah.
The big ones, they fared quite well because they were big names, that people recognised them, and if they were going to give whatever they were going to give to charity, they would give it to one of the bigger ones. But we're sort of the next tier down. And yes, we were hit in probably 2010, But after that, people have been very good and come back very quickly. We're back to our normal levels now.
Barbara, if people want to find out more about Heart Research UK, where do they go?
You can go on just put Heart Research UK in a search engine, and you'll find us. We come up first.
Barbara Harpham, thank you very much indeed. We can speak now to Peter Maple. I'm having trouble speaking today. The course director of the Charity Management Programme at London South Bank University. Morning, Peter. You heard Barbara there. She's not a fan of chuggers because, A, they're being paid a salary or a commission or however it works, and B, they're not personally connected with the charity. And those things can put some people off, can't they?
Good morning, Ian. Well, I think Barbara hit two very interesting points there. That one, it's only part of the fundraising mix. She was talking about a whole lot of other techniques of asking for money, and the point being that they all cost money. Even organising bucket collections with volunteers takes time and effort and money, and there is a cost involved in raising the funds.
But you're not paying those people shaking the buckets, although you're not allowed to shake the bucket.
No, but you are paying to organise them, you are paying for the licence, and there are costs, you know. Street canvassers, they are paid, and it's actually, interestingly, the cost of recruiting a supporter on the street is about the same as it is over direct mail over time. You know, there is a cost. People have to understand that. Equally, the other thing she was saying was really do as you would be done by. You were saying, why not blank them? Why not get rid of them? Actually, why not? You wouldn't want to be blanked in the street. Why not simply, if you don't want to talk to a charity fundraiser in the street, simply say, no thank you, I've decided on my charities and this isn't one of them.
Well, but yeah, Peter, easier said than done. Those people can be quite aggressive in their techniques, and once you open up a dialogue with them, I've had them following me down the street.
Well, Ian, if somebody follows you down the street, that's against the code of practice. It's bad fundraising. It won't work. You're not going to sign up a direct debit.
Well, I know, but
so they're wasting their time.
No, of course
so
not, but
actually,
it's still annoying.
You can report them.
But no one's going to take the time to report them. They're annoying. They follow you down the street. They dance along. Good morning, sir. Oh, hello. You're off the TV. Oh, hello. It is annoying and it is intrusive. Why can't I just go to Next and Boots and M&S without being harassed?
Well, I agree you ought not to be harassed, but I simply say, if you try with a smile, as you might to somebody with a clipboard doing some market research, no thanks, I really don't have time, I don't think they will follow you down the street, because that's what people really hate. You think if somebody blanks you, you hate it, you get annoyed. If somebody gives you a smile, recognises that you're a human being, but says no, every person has a right to say no to a fundraiser.
Right.
Equally, every fundraiser has a duty to ask for money, because we're here to change the world.
But I don't think that good line, and I don't necessarily buy into that, because they're not the chuggers aren't there to change the world. The chuggers are there to earn their money, aren't they? But also
street canvassers are on salaries. Yeah. So like a whole lot of other fundraisers, they may be working for an agency. Increasingly, they're working for the charities themselves. There is a cost there, but it makes money. But particularly young people do sign up in the street. They wouldn't do it. Charities wouldn't do it if it didn't work.
No, I know. Obviously, there are some suckers out there, but these people who are collecting the money, they're not doing it because they necessarily believe in pandas or sick children. They're doing it because it's a job.
Well, do you know you have to actually commit? You can't ask people for money without actually feeling some empathy for it, because otherwise, again, you're a bad fundraiser and you won't succeed.
But they're actors with a script and they're performing it.
Well, I don't think they're actors with a script. They are working on behalf of the charities that they are agencies for, and they will be doing that for some time. So they won't just learn a script, Ian. They will actually have a full briefing and a full training. Otherwise, they're not complying with the code of practice, and they're not good fundraisers. It won't work, and that agency will go out of business.
Peter, final question. Obviously, it does work, and people do sign up to this. How important for charities are these chuggers? How much money can they make from it?
Well, it is a very important part of the fundraising mix. As Barbara says, it's only part. But the key there is that it's young people who are very happy to talk in the street and sign up to a direct debit. And it brings in people 18 to 35 that direct other forces of advertising, direct marketing, simply don't reach those people. So people are signing up. My own daughter signed a direct debit in the street years ago as an impecunious student, and it's still running for the RSPCA. So, these things work, and yes, tens of thousands of people are signed up and fundraise for those charities and those causes every year. We are talking about a large sum of money, but it is only part of the fundraising mix.
Peter, always good to talk to you. I enjoy your enthusiasm and your passion for it. That's Peter Maple, Course Director of the Charity Management Programme at London South Bank University. You've heard two sides there. Over to you. What do you think? 08459 455 555. Am I being a little bit harsh? Do these chuggers have a place in our society? Are you more than happy to sign up to them? We'll get your phone calls in a bit.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the speed sensors, the A1M southbound around junction 7 for Stevenage starting to look heavy now. The M1 London bound slow between junction 11 for Dunstable and 9 for Redbourne. Also got some slow traffic showing up between junction 7 for Hemel Hempstead and 6 for the M25. The M25 itself really slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 20 for Kings Langley. And we've also got some delays between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. 7:18. It's Thursday, the 26th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. 4 homes were evacuated following a fire in Bletchley this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. No one was injured. Firefighters were called to Turnberry Close at about 4:45. We'll be speaking to Justin Dealey very soon, who is at the scene. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlowe's shopping area 2 days a week. And police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford. Coming up, we'll be talking more about the pond in Watford, but I'd love to get your calls on chuggers. We just heard there from a gentleman who's very passionate about them, Peter Maple. What do you think? Is he right? Are we being a little bit too harsh? Have you signed up to these chuggers, or do you just think they are an annoyance, a nuisance and rude? 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
From this weekend,
Sundays are changing here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
From 9, it's me, Tony Blackburn, with 2 hours of great soul music to ease you into your day.
From 11, I'm here with my weekend kitchen where you can find inspiration for your Sunday lunch and beyond.
From 1, it's Shrink Wrapped with Toby Friedner and Dr. Chetna Kang, where we'll discuss disability and mental health.
A new flavour to Sundays.
Starts this weekend.
Here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio. So, chuggers. You don't know what the term is. Charity muggers is where it comes from. It's those young people. They used to be beautiful. Not so much nowadays. Equal opportunities, innit? And they have a clipboard and they kind of dance alongside you in the street. That backwards walk. They do the backwards walk, don't they?
Hello, miss. You're looking really smart today. Having a good one?
Quite often I get the, hello, sir. Oh, I know you. What are you from? What are you from? Yeah, well, you know, if you can't name me, I ain't going to stop and talk to you.
Hello, madam. 5 minutes to save the pandas.
Oh, he's going to take longer than that, guys.
Are we about children in poverty? That's another one.
I've seen people tell them to F off. I wouldn't do that.
I don't think you should do that.
No.
I've done some crummy jobs, and I know that it's probably... it would kill me to do that job.
Well, as Peter says, I do the... I remember how hard... I gave out... One of my jobs when I was at college was giving out leaflets to promote a hypnotism show. I remember seeing Wayne Sleep. It's in Covent Garden, and I was all excited because it was Wayne Sleep. And of all people...
And you thought, he's showbiz, he'll love a show.
And I went to offer him the flyer, and he made a point of giving me a dirty look and walking away, and I felt crushed by the light foot of Wayne Sleep. Can you imagine that? So, I wouldn't necessarily be rude to them. Although sometimes they have been overly rude to me, and I've said, look, mate, this isn't working, jog on.
I think if they persist, then they kind of deserve it.
Philip's in Biggleswade. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, Ian.
What would you like to say, sir?
Well, I can't stand them, to be honest. They really do get on my nerves, you know, and they're so intimidating. What I found the other day is I was in a supermarket in Bletchley, in Milton Keynes, and as I walked through the door, it was so narrow to try and get through these two guys with buckets. I said no thank you in a not a very nice manner because I was fed up with the closeness of them. And as I walked through, they said something behind my back. And I turned around, I said, what did you say? And they said, nothing, sir. And I just find them so intimidating. I mean, the worst line is, as you were saying, how's your day been so far?
Well, none of your business, young man. It's been really rubbish. I've just been to see my mum in hospital. I've had a car crash, and now you're ruining it. But did you hear what they said, or did you just hear the murmur of discontent?
No, it was a comment. It was definitely a comment. But one other thing, Ian, when you was talking to that guy just a minute ago, and you kept asking him how much these chuggers earn, I'd be very interested in what percentage they take.
Yeah, I can't believe... And listen, who is it for me to doubt the word of Peter Maple? But I can't believe they're getting 12 old dears to stand out outside different branches of Argos shaking a bucket. That can't cost the same as employing a dozen young people to stand around all day. They're getting paid an hourly rate, aren't they?
Exactly. I mean, how much is a bucket, for God's sake? When he's talking... When he's talking, exactly. When he's talking about costs, I mean, he's just justifying the charity. I mean, I give to 3 different charities every year, really good ones. I've given for years, and I like doing that. But when you get pressured in, it's just not on.
Philip, may I ask you, and if it's an impersonal question, then tell me to naff off. What area do you work in? What kind of job do you do?
I do security installations on CCTV and alarms.
OK, so I'm trying to think what other jobs... So I'm imagining you don't get much abuse on your job, do you?
Very rare.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine what other jobs are more hated than chuggers, and I'm struggling to think.
Well, obviously, traffic wardens comes number one there.
Traffic wardens. Yeah. I'll put, Philip, thank you very much. Can we put that out there? Which jobs are more hated than chuggers? Maybe you do a job. I mean, we get abuse.
Journalist?
Yeah, well, if you're in Egypt. A little bit of satire there for the brothers. I'm not a journalist, but it's still despicable what happened there. I mean, I get abuse. I got a load of abuse at the weekend because I wasn't rude to a middle-aged woman on Big Brother. I got abuse for that. OK, guys, thanks. Can we find the most hated jobs in Britain? Maybe you do it. Maybe you get abuse. But taxman's not going to get abuse, though, are they?
But they do.
From whom?
People who haven't paid their taxes.
OK. OK. 08459 455 555, please. The most hated jobs in Britain. Maybe you have one. If you have a job that warrants abuse, do let me know. Now, what was supposed to be the crowning glory of a multi-million-pound makeover of Watford, a town centre, has had to be repaired days after its official opening by retail guru, nay, the Queen of Shops, Mary Portas. The parade's new pond was supposed to be a cool, clear oasis for shoppers. Instead, it's been branded a cesspit by people on Twitter after the water turned green. Well, you heard earlier on from Matt Lockwood, our reporter, who's also a Watford resident and is furious about it. We're going to speak now to Steve Dilks from the Friends of Watford Pond. Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
I have to ask, the Friends of Watford Pond, how did that group come about?
This was set up by my partner and myself initially in 2009 to monitor the wildlife in there. After we had a clutch of eggs that was stolen that went missing from some ducks that were actually nesting in there.
Oh dear.
And we actually had consultations and meetings with the mayor to kind of help to try and promote the pond, to stop people feeding the ducks, throwing in bread, etc., to make the water clearer. And just to get some upkeep on it because there was no maintenance being done at that time.
What are your concerns about the new pond, Steve?
Very much the same as they always were. Obviously, there's a problem now with the water, as has been mentioned.
It's green, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually algae. That's a refraction from the sunlight, and it's been an ongoing problem. The algae actually isn't harmful in itself. Obviously, it's not very pleasant to look at if it's a water feature, but you have to bear in mind that initially it was a pond, and ponds do have green, a certain amount of green water due to the refraction of sunlight.
Yeah. I'm looking at a picture of the pond now, and I can see the famous heron. There are concerns that people might try and ride the heron.
Yeah, obviously, the plinth that has been put in there is for I think for artistic features that they've put in there, and the heron, I'm actually looking at it myself on our site. It's a living plant, so you've got a pipe that goes in through the back and it feeds the water. And
well, it looks like it's going up its bum, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I believe that there is it's a living plant. It's not actually that bad, but like you say, the main concern is that people are going to vandalise it, destroy it. It's been done in the past when things have been put in the pond. But, yeah, you've got some handy steps that can go down there where people can just sort of walk in, which is another concern. This has always been a concern since we were consulted on the plans.
So you were consulted on the plans?
Well, it's a matter of semantics. We were told what was going to happen. We weren't actually consulted is kind of the wrong word.
OK, so you were told this is what's happening.
Yeah,
live with it.
They do these things, under the name of consultation, but it's basically telling you what they're going to do. Yeah, and that was always a concern.
Bird poop as well. Our reporter Matt Lockwood has complained about bird poop around there.
Well, I haven't actually seen any bird poop myself, but that is obviously if you're going to have wildlife there, you're going to have to deal with that as a matter of course. It depends whether or not people of Watford want a pond or a water feature. If they want a pond, you have to put up with bird poop as a matter of course. If you want a water feature, then you will basically have what you will have here, but the water will be clear. And the only way you can make the water clear, we have been told, is if you put chemicals in the water, like they do on golf courses. Oh. When you've got an area of water, a large area of water, to make the water clear, it has to be chemically treated. Now, if you have wildlife in there, such as fish, which they want to put back in, you cannot have that treatment.
Steve, is this not just a case of they've come up with a funky new design and you don't like it?
Well, yeah, I did. It's... again, if you want a pond, you have to respect the wildlife that's in there. If you put a bridge across it and you do not put anything there for where ducks can nest, more hens can nest, which we had in there before, then you're actually getting rid of the wildlife. Yeah. If you want a water feature, fine, but say it's a water feature and
be clearer.
Yeah, and yeah.
Steve, finally, we did ask to speak to the Mayor of Watford, Dorothy Thornhill, but we were told that she wasn't available. No one from the council was available to come on today. What do you make of that?
I'm not surprised. I do believe that they've had a lot of problems with the pond, and you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone from the council at this time in the morning, to be honest with you.
We normally get them. We've had Dorothy on before.
Oh, OK. It depends what the issue is, whether or not it's... I think this has been a bit of a source of contention for them, and because the amount of teething problems they've had, it's come in very late. That they filled it up, I think, in a bit of a rush to do the opening ceremony, because they'd already had the Miss Portis woman booked. Right. So, and I am aware that they did have some problems with some leakage.
OK. Steve? Oh, Steve. Yeah, OK. Steve, thank you very much. I thought you dropped off for a second there. Steve, thank you very much. Steve Dilks from the Friends of Watford Pond. Go and have a look at Facebook, have your say. Maybe you know it. Maybe you've seen it. You were there for the opening with Ms Portas. What do you think? Wonderful new structure for Watford, or, well, just a load of old junk?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In Kings Langley, on the speed sensors, the A41 starting to queue as you head towards the M25 at the moment. And then the M25 itself, anti-clockwise, very heavy between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. Also delays between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. The M1 London bound struggling between junction 10 for Luton and 9 for Redbourne. And things looking heavy on the A1M around junction 7 for Stevenage. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hey up, Glossop!
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. 4 homes were evacuated following a fire in Bletchley this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. No one was injured. Firefighters were called to Turnberry Close at about 4:45. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. So-called chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. Police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford. The new details of the sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed today when reports are published on his activities at NHS hospitals. But a report into Stoke Mandeville Hospital in Buckinghamshire has been delayed until the autumn.
3 Counties Sports.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
Football's world governing body FIFA has told the BBC a decision about the Uruguayan Liverpool striker Luis Suarez should be made within the next 24 hours, following Tuesday's apparent World Cup biting incident. On the field, 2 goals from Lionel Messi helped Argentina to a 3-2 win over Nigeria. Both teams go through. Argentina and Manchester City fullback Pablo Zabaleta says Messi will be key to their hopes.
We know Messi is our main player, he's our captain, he means everything for this team, and obviously everyone who loves football around the world is enjoying and watching Messi playing in football.
France drew 0-0 with Ecuador last night, but won their group with Switzerland second after beating Honduras 3-0. France will play Nigeria. Argentina will face Switzerland in the last 16. This afternoon, a draw for Germany against the USA would send both through. Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal face Ghana, needing a miracle to progress. At Wimbledon, wins yesterday for Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic. Murray dropped just 2 games, but knows there are tougher encounters ahead.
You're going to get tested during the tournament. Sometimes that happens in the first round, and sometimes it can happen semi-finals, or it can happen at any moment in the tournament. You just have to be ready for it and expect it before every single match.
Today, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer are in second-round action. British number 1 Heather Watson is also on centre court. BBC 3 Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC 3 Counties Radio.
This morning we're asking about chuggers. Do you hate them? Do you love them? Can we find somebody who has been... These are the 2 people I want, OK? Somebody who is or has been a chugger, please. 08459 455 555. And somebody who has signed up to a chugger, been approached in the street for cancer or kids or animals or whatever it is, and has gone, yeah, I'm up for that. I've noticed, and I've seen people giving their bank details over, I've noticed they tend to be foreign tourists. Have you spotted that? They tend to be foreign tourists who may think, hey, this is some quaint English custom.
I got done that way in Paris when I was new.
You got done in Paris?
Yeah.
Wow.
Walking down the Champs-Elysees.
There we go.
Someone asked me if I wanted to help children with AIDS. Who's going to say no to that?
You can't say no to children with AIDS.
They ended up dipping into my purse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I opened my purse to give them some money and they said, the more you give, the more it helps.
Wow, the more children with AIDS you can save.
And I've given them my address as well, so they've got a list of suckers.
Oh, dearie me. 08459 455 555. And also the most hated jobs. Do you do a job that is more hated than chugging? I'd be surprised. There must be some out there. 08459 455 555. Now, we've been getting reports this morning of some kind of explosion in Bletchley. Justin Dealey rushed down there as soon as he could. Justin, you're in Turnberry Close.
That's right.
What's happening? Well,
I'm here with Iain Wilson, who's the station manager. Iain, thanks for joining us live on the programme. Tell us what happened this morning and what time crews arrived here.
Our crews arrived at about 4:45 this morning, and they were faced with a very serious fire at the rear of some properties in Turnberry Close in Bletchley. In addition to that, there had been a massive explosion and repeated explosions after that. So they were faced with a great deal of people out in the street, early hours of the morning, serious fire, which was around the rear of the property so they couldn't see it, and explosions. So...
A scene of chaos then. The fire you're talking about, is that fire now out here in Bletchley?
Yes, the fire's been extinguished. We were defensive for a while because we were worried about the danger of explosions hurting people and obviously ourselves. So we acted defensively. So we stayed in the street, pointing our jets onto the fire, and then as soon as we were happy that the cylinders were no longer going to explode, we advanced and extinguished the fire, and examine the buildings for damage.
4 homes have been affected by this explosion. Just how badly damaged are those properties?
They're very seriously damaged. The garage at the rear of the properties is completely destroyed. It's blown apart. The 2 properties just in front of the garage severely damaged at the rear. Internal doors have been blown off their hinges. That's how powerful the explosion is. And 2 houses either side also seriously damaged. So you got 50% of each of those 4 houses. 50% of their roofs have been destroyed.
Sounds absolutely terrifying. We're also hearing that people have been taken to hospital. Can you confirm that for us?
Yes, luckily no one's seriously injured. There's two elderly residents who were taken to hospital with minor injuries.
A couple of final points for you. The damage was caused here by gas cylinders. What's your advice to anybody listening to this right now who is storing gas cylinders?
I'm sure there's a lot of people who store gas cylinders for domestic use and probably commercial use as well within their properties. Certainly never store them within a house, and we advise not to store in garages or sheds. So they should be kept externally, preferably in caged areas, so that if there is a fire, we don't get the situation we've got this morning.
As you mentioned, the fire's out. Some people back into their properties already. Just lastly, what's the plan of action from now moving forward?
Okay, we're in the wind down stage, if you like. So what we're doing is any hot spots that are occurring in the fire in the roof, we're hitting those, and we call it turning down and damping over. So we're making sure the fire's absolutely out. We're removing tiles, any sort of hazard that could fall from the roof, and making the properties and the area safe, and then we'll be out of here.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. That's Station Manager Iain Wilson joining us live on the programme. Iain, what I'll do between now and the end of the show, 4 properties affected, some people back into their homes already. We'll try and speak to those residents at some point between now and 9 on the show.
Great stuff, Justin. Can you see the damage?
Not at this particular moment. Iain, in a second, is going to take me round there and show me the damage, and I think what we'll do, we'll try and get some pictures, and I think there's a message to be learned from this, as Iain was saying there, about storing gas cylinders. The damage quite extensive, but I'll be taken round there in the next 5 minutes or so.
Justin, thank you very much. We'll speak to you later on. Let us know when you've got a description of what's going on. 08459 455 555. Catherine?
Yep, Justin Dealey doing the business for us this morning.
Justin Dealey doing the business. He's taken it to the street. Jamie's in Luton. Good morning, Jamie.
Morning.
Jamie, we're trying to find a job that is more hated, more loathed, more despised than the chuggers, the charity muggers. Do you do one?
I don't do one, no, but debt collectors are.
What, like the bailiffs and stuff?
Yeah.
And I suppose they are. I suppose they would. Have you ever had cause to have the debt collectors come round?
No, what happened was when we moved into our house 3 years ago, obviously the people that owned it, they took a loan out on a car. And the loan must have been secured against the car. And for 5 or 6 months, these people were banging our door.
Oh, they came to the door thinking that you were that person?
Yeah, even though we proved we wasn't, they just wouldn't sort of like, give in. And they just kept coming and coming. And every time that they visited, I think the bill went up another £100 to £150.
Oh, blimey. That must have been quite scary.
It was for my wife at the time, yes, because she was there on her own when they first knocked, and they said they were going to take stuff out of the house.
And also, I know JVS knows more about this than me. I don't know what the rules are particularly around this. And if they had gotten in the house, I guess they could have started taking stuff, couldn't they?
Well, yeah, when he put his foot in the doorway, so she couldn't shut the door.
Oh, that's terrible. Did you get it sorted in the end?
Finally, yeah. The bloke lived 3 doors away.
He must have been looking out the window every time, thinking, "Oh, they're going to get that sucker Jamie and his missus." So they got him in the end.
As far as I know, they did, yeah. But it took us like 6 months to get our names clear from it. Even though my name's not Mr. Gamphy, but he was the man.
Jamie, listen, mate, thank you very much indeed. You've reminded me. I'm in a similar situation to Jamie. Similar. We've been in our house for about a year and a half now. And we get... You all right, Matt?
Yeah, good. Coffee?
What?
Coffee?
You feeling all right?
Do you want a coffee?
I'd love a coffee, mate.
I'll get you a coffee.
Who's that? What's he done with Matt?
What's going on?
Robot Matt.
Yeah, what's the name?
Your allegations against me this morning are unfounded. I make coffees in the office, not always for you. So that's how it is.
He's wagging the finger of truth.
The finger of truth is pointing. He's okay. Thank you. I'll have no sugar in this one, please. Oh! Anyway, so we've been in our house for about 18 months, and we have two things going on. One is we are getting big bills for somebody who, as far as we are aware, has never lived there. Big bills. Tax bills. We had a tax bill for him the other day. Big bills. And we're also getting phone calls.
At what point did you open them? Because this happened to me. I started getting letters, and I sent them on, I redirected them, and then I thought, I'm a bit worried by these, so I opened them, and I found out that someone was chasing him for money.
Oh, as soon as they came.
I had no idea who this fellow was.
As soon as they came, because many years ago, when I lived with a friend, we lived in a flat with a landlord who was the biggest dodgepot I've ever met in my life, OK? He claimed he was friends with Brad Pitt. Oh, right, yeah, of course you are. And then we used to pay by direct debit to his wife. And then, sadly, his wife died. And that was sad. And he turned up and he said, I'm really sorry my wife's died. Can I start getting the rent in cash?
Oh.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm really sorry. Yeah, of course you can. We can sort that. Not a problem at all. So he came round, got his rent in cash, and it was all a bit sad. And then he went outside, and we watched as he jumped into a convertible car with two really hot women and drove off. And we were getting bills for him. And we thought, I'm going to open these. And they were, you have not paid your mortgage for 18 months. We are going to send the bailiffs round to take your... And me and my friend, we did a moonlight flit, and we disappeared from that property. Anyway, so I started opening these letters very early. So we're getting letters sent asking for this guy's tax. He owes about £30,000 in tax and various other bills. And then we get phone calls as well from debt. Can we speak to... this is the IMP, Debt Collection Agency. Yep. Can we speak to Mr Johnson, reference number? And we've had these constantly. And I keep phoning them up. It's different agencies. I keep phoning them up. And this is great. This is a great ruse if you're a faker. Yes, is that Mr Johnson I'm speaking to? No, he doesn't live here. I've never heard of him. OK, we'll take your number off the list. That's all it takes. But then we keep getting more phone calls from them. Another, someone else. And it's like, what can I do?
I was getting them to my mobile phone. Hello, is that Terry? No, does it sound like Terry? I've told you before. OK, sorry, we'll take you off the list. And then I get...
They don't take you off the list.
And you can trace these debt collection agencies, and they're all in the same area.
Oh, man.
They're all in the same office. They sit next to each other.
Oh, man alive. 08459 455 555. Daniel's from Aylesbury. Morning, Daniel.
Morning, Ian.
What's your technique for defeating the evil chuggers?
You have to lie to them.
Ooh.
You smile, thump your fist on your chest and say, I already subscribe. That's all you need to do.
But describe the motion again.
You thump your fist on the chest and you have to say, brothership, comradeship. I already subscribe.
And do they buy that?
They do.
Oh, Daniel! I love the fact it's not just it's not just a verbal lie; it's a physical lie. You're actually adding gravitas to it and empathy. That's wonderful.
There we go. You feel a little bit bad, but then they're annoying, so you have to get rid of them somehow, and it does work.
And you've saved a few quid.
Yes.
Daniel, thank you very much indeed. Your techniques for beating the chuggers. Is there a worse job? And if you have been or are a chugger, I'd love to hear from you. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
At the London Coney roundabout, on the speed sensors, the North Orbital approach is looking very heavy at the moment. The A1M southbound also struggling around junction 7 for Stevenage. On the speed sensors, the M1 London bound, heavy going between junction 10 for Luton and 9 for Redbourne. Also, the approaches to the Kidneywood roundabout looking congested. The M25 anti-clockwise, heavy between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford. We've also got queues between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Have you ever ridden a heron? Call me now, 08459 455 555. 7:46, it's Thursday the 26th of June. Sing hosannas. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. 4 homes were evacuated following a fire in Bletchley this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. 2 elderly residents have been taken to hospital with minor injuries. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. And police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford. 7:46, let's get the latest weather now.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thanks very much indeed. A nice day in Prospect today. We've got some really lovely sunshine developing across Buckinghamshire right now and stretching up towards Hertfordshire too. A bit more cloud around Bedfordshire, but that's just the way of it just now. What's going to happen through the day today is we're going to see some good bright or sunny spells through much of the day, and a top temperature in the best of that of 20 Celsius, 68 in Fahrenheit. But we do have some change heading towards us in the form of some showers late this evening in from the southwest and with us through the night. By tomorrow morning, a lot of dry weather, but again, not long after breakfast time, we'll see those showers really kicking off again. And in fact, we'll continue with them through the afternoon. They're trying to clear off towards the north. You'd be a bit too clever, though, I think, to say that they are largely going to clear away. So good spells of sunshine between the showers tomorrow afternoon, but cater for showers. And then Saturday should be fairly showery too. Sunday, the better day of the weekend, perhaps the risk of a shower, but most places staying dry. Temperatures in the high teens typically through the weekend. So in any drier weather, it should feel quite pleasant, but Saturday is a day where we'll continue with those showers, and then on Monday we'll be talking about showers once more, and that's your forecast.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks very much, dude. Hello.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
I'm at Bletchley Park today for a very, very important special occasion. For me, being out of the studio is about putting faces to names and bringing to life all that's brilliant about Beds, Hearts and Bucks. If you know the high street here and you've never seen what goes on behind you really should, because it's like a whole new world.
Nick Coffer.
I think for my listeners, they get a chance to hear about places they may never have visited. In fact, they may never have heard of. And also, they hear the stories from the people that bring those places to life.
That is one of the mysteries of Abbots Langley Fire Brigade.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Hearts and Bucks on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm just trying to find the... yeah. Matt on the Telegraph, he's got it. He lost it yesterday, he lost it. Today, he got it back, he got his mojo back, man.
OK, go on.
This is brilliant. This is genuinely brilliant. Not only because he's drawn it, but he thought of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tennis. You tell it's tennis because there is, you can see about a third of a tennis net. You can see the handle that winds the tennis net up. By the way, at what point in the next 2 weeks are we going to hear about the unsung heroes of Wimbledon, the ball boys and girls? Every year, the unsung heroes of Wimbledon.
Well, actually, I've just seen one of the Williams sisters hurtling into the crowd, so whoever took that one is an unsung hero.
Oh, imagine taking a hit from a Williams. Anyway, so it's a Matt... It's tennis, it's Wimbledon.
She went barrelling into them.
Yeah, I bet she did. I bet she's... just stopped myself just in time there. Thank you.
Hurry up, because we've got Albert waiting, and then we've got Sirius.
What you do?
Oh, no, don't sit down.
I've brought you a proper tray, so this square cup is for Catherine, so you can have this.
OK. Can we talk to Albert, quick?
Go on, then.
Albert, hang on a second, I'm just dealing with Matt.
All right, mate.
Just talk to Albert and I'll make you a cup of coffee.
Is there a water shortage?
There's a water shortage and a milk shortage and a sugar shortage.
No, there's not a milk shortage.
I couldn't find the milk.
There's milk in there. It's got a B written on it.
Oh, is it BB?
B for breakfast.
All the way round B.
There's two B.
There's a few Bs.
Right.
Normally you have just breakfast on there.
Not being funny. Right, Catherine and Matt, why are you doing this in my studio when you could do it in Catherine's studio? Or, I don't know, in the kitchen.
I don't want him in here. I don't...
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a flipping radio show. I've got Albert on the line. Sorry, Albert.
Well, carry on with Albert, then. Mate. Carry on with Albert.
All right, then, I'll carry on with Albert. Albert, what would you like to say?
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, Albert.
I would just like to say, I have signed up to these things. People who don't are a bit heartless, in my opinion.
Nah.
Sugar?
Yeah. I'll have one sugar.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry, Albert.
Sorry, Albert.
Good grief.
So people who don't sign up to chuggers are heartless. Tell me why.
Well, they're raising money for a good cause, but I understand people have only got so much money, and what annoys me about them is that the young people who collect, they're also young and good-looking, aren't they?
Thank you, Matt.
No problem. As the lady said earlier, they've got nothing to do with the charity.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to see is people representative of the charity.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So World Wildlife Fund, for example, get yourself out there with a panda. Chain it to a post if necessary. Get it out there so people can pet it, feed it some bamboo, that kind of thing. If you're collecting for the old people, get them out there in their bath chairs.
Are you going to chain them up?
See what they're like. We'll chain the old people up if necessary, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a bit of sympathy. It's playing on the heartstrings.
Yeah.
You know, I would quite happily join the Friends of Watford Pond if they get Mary Portas out there with her seepage. I would quite happily give her some money. I'd sign up, wouldn't you? Hello?
I probably would sign up to the Friends of Watford Pond if they had Mary Portas there chained up, yes.
Exactly. How could you not? It's cruel not to, Ian.
Albert, thank you very much for your... You don't think that the chuggers are overly aggressive sometimes?
Well, some of them are. One of them had me in an arm lock once, but I did give him some money in the end. But it was for a very, very good cause.
Well, that's...
It was for children with diphtheria.
OK, well, Albert, that's great news. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. So... Oh, we'll do Matt in a minute. We'll do Matt in a little bit. He's got it today. It's a cracking cartoon. 08459 455 555. We'll have Ben. We'll have Albert in the podcast if you'd be so kind, please. Thank you very much. Now, new details will be revealed today of the extent of Jimmy Savile's sexual abuse on NHS premises. The main focus will be on the investigations carried out at hospitals where Savile had extensive access. The Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, is also expected to apologise in the Commons over the DJ and broadcaster's actions. Well, our reporter, Frankie McCamley, has got more on this. Morning, Frankie. What are we expecting?
Good morning. Well, we will be seeing a series of reports covering 28 NHS hospitals. In these, we understand more than 100 people have come forward to these inquiries saying they were either sexually assaulted or treated inappropriately by the presenter. Now, most of the focus is going to be on the investigations at Leeds General Infirmary in Savile's home city and at Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital, where he was given extensive access. But just to give you a scale across the UK of the hospitals that have been looked into. I mean, they range from Exeter Hospital to Cardiff Royal Infirmary to Whitby Memorial Hospital in North Yorkshire, as well as here we've got Stoke Mandeville Hospital and Leavesden Hospital.
What are these reports likely to say?
Well, what they're expected to do is identify these opportunities that were missed for Savile's offending to be confronted over this huge period of more than 50 years. And that's going to be followed by an apology expected to come from the Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, in the Commons. Now, these reports, they all came out after the Metropolitan Police got all of their material together, passed it to the Department of Health, who then passed it on to their hospital trusts to investigate. Now, we do understand 35 hospitals or homes which had links with Savile are being looked into. So some of them at the moment, we believe, have found nothing, but other investigations into other hospitals, like the one in this area, have been put on hold.
So this is not the end then?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we've got key reports, especially into Stoke Mandeville Hospital. That's been delayed. That's because new information's come into light. So we don't know yet when this information will be released. But we do understand that this investigation's been shelved until later on in the year. Now, we do know that Jimmy Savile had a bedroom here. It was where his charitable trust was based. That's now been closed. Elsewhere, we've got others that have been delayed, two that have only just begun. But we can't forget that this is just the start of the investigation. We already saw a report from the NSPCC earlier this month that said Savile had abused nearly 500 victims, some as young as 2. And let's hear from Liz Dux, who is a solicitor representing some of them.
Because he was such an important fundraiser for the organisation, and in some cases people were literally laughed off by members of staff. And these were children, some of whom did try and tell their parents, and their parents just could not believe that someone as famous as Savile would have behaved in this way.
And in January last year, we had more reports, one again from the NSPCC with the Metropolitan Police, who found that Savile was a prolific predatory sex offender. And maybe the most damning of them all was from the Crown Prosecution Service that said that Savile could have been prosecuted back in 2009 if these victims had been taken more seriously.
Frankie McCamley, thank you very much indeed.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Peter's in Walmer Green. Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
What would you like to have a whinge about today, sir?
Well, you're talking about chuggers.
Yeah. Do you love them or hate them?
I stopped contributing to charities after I retired because my income was fixed, so I stopped. But there are other things that I find nearly as bad. I mean, when you come to go out of a checkout, I hate these people that sit there or stand there with buckets, because it always makes you feel guilty that you're not contributing, and that's wrong.
You can't hate the old dears that have got buckets, that they're shaking buckets for cats.
I'm talking about these people from sports clubs, from this, that, the other.
Oh, do you not put a few coppers in?
No.
Not even tuppence?
I don't even encourage them.
Peter.
I'm not stingy.
You won't put threepence in a bin?
Why?
Well,
they got mums and dads. That's how I used to pay it.
Yeah. So what are they collecting for then, Peter?
I used to run a junior football team for youngsters in the village years ago.
Yeah.
And it cost me a fortune buying bits and pieces from them. My van used to be covered in mud from their football boots.
Muddy van, yeah.
And I used to clean it all out.
Good for you.
So I'd done my bit.
And you never shook a bucket?
Pardon? No, definitely not. We paid for our own things, and why should other people pay for someone else's pleasure?
Well, that's a great way of looking at it. Peter, finally, I don't know if you heard Albert earlier on. He was saying if you don't give money to these people with the buckets or the chuggers, well, then you're tight and you're heartless. Peter, are you tight? Are you heartless?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, I do laugh a lot more than you believe, actually.
I don't believe you laugh at all.
If I invite you down to my bowls club with a group of lads, lads I call them, they're older than me, some of them.
Crikey.
That's old. We have roll-up sessions and we have a great laugh.
What's a roll-up session?
With bowls, it's for
you call it roll-up?
Just casual bowls, really.
Yeah. So you like casual bowls?
Yeah, and matches we play.
Okay. Well, Peter, do you know what? Maybe one day we might take you up on that offer.
Well, Hatfield Bowls Club is a private club in College Lane, right near the entrance to the university.
Peter, thank you very much. Those are very specific directions we've got there.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've had an update from Jules in East Hyde. The Lower Harpenden Road is slow going around Fars Lane because there are temporary traffic lights there for roadworks. And also a call from Iain going between Shefford and Henlow on the A505. This is as you head towards the A1. A skip lorry has broken down along that stretch just before you reach the junction with Hitchin Road. Very slow going through that section all the way back from the Ampthill Hill Road. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Alice. Coming up in the next hour of the show, chuggers. Can we find someone who has been or is a chugger? Do you contribute to them? And can we find a job that's more hated than the people who collect money in the streets? We'll find out after the news with Simon.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines. Homes evacuated after Bletchley explosions. Clampdown on street fundraisers in Hemel Hempstead. And problems with Watford's town centre pond.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
4 homes were evacuated following a fire in Bletchley this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. 2 elderly residents have been taken to hospital with minor injuries. Firefighters were called to Turnberry Close at about 4:45. Station manager Ian Wilson says crews faced a dangerous situation.
There had been a massive explosion and repeated explosions after that. So they were faced with a great deal of people out in the street, early hours of the morning, serious fire which was around the rear of the property so they couldn't see it. and explosions.
Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. So-called chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. Peter Maple is director of the Charity Management Programme at London's South Bank University.
Every person has a right to say no to a fundraiser.
You're right.
Equally, every fundraiser has a duty to ask for money, because we're here to change the world.
Police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman. The body of the 82-year-old was discovered on Tuesday lunchtime at a house in Latimer in Stony Stratford. The 48-year-old man was released yesterday evening. Police say the death is still unexplained but will be handed over to the coroner. New details of the sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed today when reports are published on his activities at NHS hospitals. A report into Stoke Mandeville Hospital in Buckinghamshire has been delayed until the autumn, but Hertfordshire's Leavesden Mental Hospital, which closed in 1995, is expected to be included today. The head teacher of a Hertfordshire school has paid tribute to a former nursery worker who's died in a road crash in Turkey. 53-year-old Valerie Orton from Stevenage had worked at St Christopher School in Letchworth for 18 years. Head Richard Palmer says she was a much-loved and respected friend, teacher and colleague. Her friend Alison Conroy from Welwyn Garden City was also killed in Sunday's crash. A new pond in Watford Town Centre has had to be repaired just days after it was officially opened by TV presenter Mary Portas. The council admits to teething problems with the water feature, the centrepiece of a multi-million-pound makeover of the parade. Steve Dilks is from Friends of Watford Pond.
The teething problems are the same as the problems that they had before this pond was actually restructured. We know what's best, but they don't know the groundwork, they don't know the structure, they don't know the pipes, the problems with the water, the plants that were in there. It is all about decoration and show.
In sport, football's world governing body FIFA has told the BBC a decision about the Uruguayan Liverpool striker Luis Suarez should be made within the next 24 hours, following Tuesday's apparent World Cup biting incident. The weather fine and dry with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 20 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
If I walk up and down the street, I'm often seeing people I know.
Quiet country living in a really convenient location.
And all this week we're featuring Welwyn and Digswell.
It's a great village to live. You know, it's got a real family feel about it.
It's all about where you live.
People are proud to be in Welwyn. It's a nice place to live.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Coming up between now and 9 o'clock, we'll have the latest on the Bletchley fire. We're also talking about chuggers, good or bad. And I've got a really interesting email about Jimmy Savile as well, which I'm going to read in a sec. I'm keen to get your thoughts on it. I think I know what mine are, but I'm keen to get your thoughts. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Have a listen to this, Kath. This is from Ken. We're talking about Jimmy Savile. Ken in Redbourne says, I'm no supporter of the guy, but as not a single allegation has been or will ever be tried in court, the media should forever use the term alleged in reference to them. It's interesting, isn't it? The reason we don't need... Well, OK, you can't libel the dead. So I could say anything I wanted about Jimmy Savile or anybody who's dead, and I can't libel them. If I defame the estate, then that's kind of a slightly different thing, and then the estate could possibly sue me for defamation. I don't think they could sue me for libel, maybe defamation. I'm not sure about the intricacies of that. But you can't libel the dead. So we don't need to use the word alleged. That's often used to protect us more than it is to protect the other person. But also, there's no doubt that he was a paedophile, is there? There's no doubt that he abused at least some of these people that have come forward.
Witnesses have come forward now, haven't they?
And does it need to be... It's confusing my head. Does it need to go through a court of law for it to become fact that it happened? Obviously, it can't necessarily go through a court.
If the person's alive, it does, yes.
Yeah, of course. But Savile can't go through a court of law. I guess these cases could go to a civil court, perhaps.
And the wider thing about this is that these people have been ignored, some of them actually ignored or dismissed for years and years. And the whole point of this is now we listen to the victims. So you're saying that we should tell them that they've had their chance while he was alive and they should just lock it away forever?
Well, the argument not necessarily from Ken, but from people will be and will be again, has been and will be. Why didn't these people come forward?
They did, some of them.
Some of them did, and also, hey, do you know what? If you've been abused, it's all about power and shame, and shame is a great way of shutting someone up. If someone is full of shame, they won't come forward until they feel they're either in too much pain or they feel empowered to come forward. And the other argument would be, they're just jumping on the bandwagon. Imagine jumping on the sexual abuse bandwagon. Wow, what a crazy bandwagon that is to want to be jumping on. I'm going to put that out there. It's not going to change the way I refer to Jimmy Savile, but I'm interested to get your thoughts. Let me just read this email from Ken again, and then give me a call. I'm no supporter of Savile, but not a single allegation has been or will ever be tried in court. The media should forever use the term alleged in reference to him. 08459 455 555. Is Ken right or wrong? Simple question. We just put that out there because I'd be keen to get your thoughts on that. Right, let's get the latest on what's happening in Bletchley. Justin Dealey has been at the scene of an explosion which happened in the early hours of this morning. Justin, it happened in Turnberry Close, and I believe the firefighters have been showing you around the scene. Is that right?
They have. Happened just before 5 o'clock this morning. We spoke to the commander around, 35 minutes ago. The fire is now out here, but in the last few minutes, Ian, they've taken me round to the affected properties. 4 properties affected. And I've got to be honest with you, it's a scene of absolute devastation. I am shocked at what I have seen in the last few minutes here. I've spoken to Pauline. She lives in one of those 4 affected properties, and this is what she told me.
Well, somebody said it was five-ish. There's such a loud explosion, I couldn't think what it was, so I was fast asleep. Then about 10 minutes later there was another one, so I thought I'd better get up and get dressed and see what's going on. And I came out and I just saw all the debris and the like.
I mean, your back garden is just full of rubble now. You've got damage to your roof as well.
Yeah.
Looking at the damage here, I was shocked when I got taken round to the back gardens. It's quite a miracle that nobody's been killed here, isn't it, really?
I think we all got out quick enough because I was just getting dressed and somebody hammered on the door, get out, because we thought gas explosion. So we went down the end there, sort of to get away from whatever else was going to explode.
The whole experience, I think you're still in shock right now, so I'll ask you one final question, but the whole experience must have been utterly terrifying for you.
It was. I've just never heard, I can still hear it in my head, the explosion. And like I say, I wandered down there. My son-in-law, who lives just along the way, he appeared and took me home with him. Sat there shaking and made me a coffee and...
Listen, I'll leave you in peace. Thank you very much indeed, and best of luck. Thank you. So that was Pauline there, one of the affected neighbours. 4 homes affected here. The gas cylinders exploded in the garage of somebody's back garden. The fire investigation team currently here, not quite sure if it was a fire first and then the cylinders went up, or it was purely an explosion. But as I mentioned, investigations will continue here. But from what I've seen this morning, and again, we should put those pictures on social media very soon, it is an absolute miracle, Ian, that nobody has been killed here.
We're putting the pictures up on Facebook now. They'll be up in a minute or two. Kath just sent me the pictures. Flipping heck!
Absolutely.
I wasn't expecting that. That's incredible.
Neither was I, because
incredible.
When Ian Wilson took me round, I was in absolute shock, because we've got 4 properties, and the back gardens of those 4 properties, you cannot see any grass. It is pure rubble. The garage, which was in the back garden where the explosion happened, that's been completely destroyed. That also caused a car fire, so the car from that property, that's been destroyed as well. A number of the doors inside those properties, they've been blown off their hinges. People here in absolute shock.
I bet
and as again, I'll say it again, it really is. And when people see those pictures, again, I'm sure they'll agree that it's a miracle that nobody's been killed here.
Justin, great stuff. Thank you very much. The pictures will be up on Facebook in the next 2 minutes or so. Go and have a look. It's incredible. I wasn't expecting that. Just from some gas canisters in a garage. Wow. Deary me. 08459 455 555. Hemel is cracking down on chuggers in a move which could set back charities who rely on persuading shoppers to sign up for direct debits. From now on, you'll only have to run away from them for 2 days a week in the Marlow shopping centre. Well, Peter Quinn joins me now and runs a Ban Chuggers blogspot, banchuggers.blogspot.com, as well as his own charity. Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Peter, what's your beef with chuggers?
Well, I'm a volunteer, and I started volunteering after I had cancer. And I was just as naive as the other man in the street about chugging, which is charity mugging, it's short for. And I thought these people in the streets wearing the charity T-shirts were actually charity volunteers like me. And I was really shocked when I found out that they're not at all anything as they seem. These people are taking the first £100 out of every donation, which I was amazed when I found this out. And anybody can go on the internet and see the information about it. And there's a wonderful programme on BBC Newsnight, which is still available on the internet, that you can go and watch. And in that, charities themselves admit that they're paying around £136 for each donor. And this comes out of your donation. I mean, if you were stopped in the street and you were told, I'm going to take £136 out of your donation, would you donate?
But it must work, Peter. They must make more money. The charities must make more money than they pay out to these people.
Yeah, they'll probably get a percentage out of it. And I do think they're very keen on building databases. That seems to be the new thing.
Yep.
I mean, if you die, you'll leave your money to the charity, and they've got you on their database. So there are different reasons why people are collecting your details in the street. But my advice to anybody is, if you want to give to a charity, go direct to the charity. Do not give it to the middleman, the guy in the street that's taking the money.
I suppose we're so busy these days, Peter, getting on with our lives, that we can often forget to be generous to those less fortunate than us, whether it be humans or animals. And seeing these people in the street can perhaps prick our conscience and remind us that, you know, we do have a civic duty to help others.
Yes, I do agree with you. We do have a civic duty, but is this the way to do it? I mean, we should be encouraging volunteers rather than having paid professionals on £12 an hour plus commission plus expenses. Then their boss is on a lot more than them. This industry, if you work out the figures, at £136 per donor, they're signing up 750,000 people every year. This industry, and it is an industry, is worth well over £100 million. It's a big business.
Well, it is business, isn't it, Peter? And people do get paid in charities. We hear of these CEOs of charities who get hundreds of thousands of pounds salary. Are you saying that that's wrong?
No. I'm not arguing about that. I'm here to talk about awareness, and I feel that people in the street, I mean, you ask your listeners, do they know that a lot of the money that they give when they're stopped in the street by chugger, a lot of the money they give is going straight to the chugger? Do they know that? I mean, I think people need to make an informed decision. If you look at a Christmas card, it says on the back, 15% of this Christmas card goes to the charity, or 95% goes to the charity. You can make an informed decision.
Do you think that maybe they need to do that? When you sign up with the chugger, Peter, they should say, look, but just before you give me your bank details, I should let you know that 20% of what you give will go into my back pocket. Would that make things more favourable?
It would, but it's a lot more than 20%.
What percentage is it, do you think?
BBC Moneybox has suggested, I think this is extreme, that 90% goes to the chugger.
Right, but not in all cases, in extreme cases. Should we?
Well, if you look at the chugger's website, they admit that it takes 2 years before any of your donations get anywhere near the charity.
Should we ban them completely, Peter? I mean, Hemel's banning them for that you can only come up 2 days a week. Should we get rid of them completely?
Words like aggression, harassment into charity work, and these have no place in charity work. Charity work should be an enjoyable experience. It shouldn't be a guilt trip where you're stopped in the street and pressurised into signing something.
Peter, I appreciate your thoughts on this morning. If you want to read more of Peter's thoughts, then his website is banchuggers.blogspot.com. I've just had a look at it, and it looks like a well-constructed little corner of the internet, so go and have a look at that. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, please. Should we get rid of chuggers? Are they a nuisance? Have you been one? 08459 455 555. We've had very little support from them this morning, apart from Albert, who says if you don't sign up, you're heartless. There's something wrong with you. What do you think?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We had an update from Jules in East Hyde on the Lower Harpenden Road. Things are slow going around Fars Lane because there are temporary traffic lights there at the moment. Also, Iain called us to update us going between Sheffield and Henlow.
I did not.
Iain, if you'll believe it.
Oh, gosh, OK, sorry.
There's more than one, just two of you though. Between Sheffield and Henlow on the A507 as you head towards the A1, a skip lorry's broken down. On the sensors, looking very heavy on the approach from the Ampts Hill Road. Also on the sensors, the M1 very heavy in both directions around junction 10 for Luton. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties
Alice,
Radio.
I'm really sorry for the confusion about the Iain there. That was inappropriate. I shouldn't have interrupted your bulletin, and I'm very, very sorry.
Completely understandable. I see your confusion.
Thank you very much indeed. You're a very kind woman. It's 8:16. It's Thursday, the 26th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Several homes in Bletchley have been severely damaged following a fire this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. 4 homes were evacuated. 2 elderly residents were taken to hospital with minor injuries. If you want to see photographs, then go to facebook.com/BBC3CR. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. And police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford.
BBC Three Counties Radio. BBC Three Counties Radio's big tour of beds, hearts and bucks.
A beautiful old village with a real community spirit.
And all this week we're featuring Welwyn and Digswell.
It's a bit like Trumpton, the way it was.
Inviting everyone to where you live.
You can get out into the countryside and go walking, cycling, whatever. There's plenty going on.
You've got everything you're likely to want. Cafes, restaurants.
If you've got a story everyone should hear about, let us tell them about it.
Quiet country living in a really convenient location.
It really is a great little place to live.
The big tour of beds, hearts and bucks from BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning. How are you?
You're getting redder and redder. Now, either you've just been embarrassed or shamed as you've come down the stairs, or you've...
It's my natural glow. It's my natural glow. I think it's...
blood pressure checked.
Very possibly.
Do you remember the girl at school who, if there was like something that was a tiny bit embarrassing... will go bright red. Did you ever go like that?
I can tell you something, because I had a girl... Oh, gosh, I hope she's not listening. This would be dreadful. I had a girl at school whose legs went red when she was embarrassed.
Oh.
Her whole body would go red.
Gosh.
And she used to wear... You know the way girls at school, they used to wear those kind of little white socks?
Yes, I remember
and then
that,
their
yeah.
shoes.
Yep.
And then at my school, they wore, I think, a grey skirt or a blue skirt or
Traditional,
something like that.
yep.
And her legs would go red.
Wow.
Whenever she was asked to stand up in front of the class and do reading...
That's weird.
I'd say, look at her legs. Look at her legs.
Red leg. Here comes red leg.
Her legs would go bright red.
I knew a girl who got it sort of on her chest, above her bosom.
Oh, yes, flush.
You get the flush there if she was embarrassed or...
Yes.
Feeling...
Well, the flush in my face, it's nothing to do with embarrassment. I think it might just be that my blood vessels are getting closer to the skin.
Yeah, that could be happening.
It's Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, well, there are groups that can help you. I'll give you some leaflets later on. Now, you've come in spoiling for a fight today. I don't know if you're going to get one from me.
No, I'm sensing I'm not going to get one.
Go on, what's your big
Coming
question?
up on this morning's Big Fun, well, you may well have seen it's on the front page of some of today's papers on the Daily Express. What a bargain, they say.
Yep.
With a picture of the Queen. The Queen has published the Buckingham Palace accounts, and it shows that the royal family costs us taxpayers just under £36 million a year.
That's not bad.
In real terms, that means that every single person in the UK pays 56p a year for the Queen, her family, her property, her security and her staff.
Yep.
Well, from 9 this morning, I want your views on this. Do you mind 56p being taken from your pocket to pay for the royal family? Is it, as the Daily Express suggests, a complete bargain that our head of state costs us just 56p each? Seems like a bargain to me.
Oh, you're doing weird eyes when you say that.
Well, do you know
really
what?
Smug eyes.
I was looking this morning, doing a little bit of research before the show. I tried to do a little bit of research. I know that might be a surprise to you. Do you know that President Obama, he costs over $100 billion a year?
From my pocket?
Not from your pocket.
Okay,
you don't pay for him.
That's
But
good.
he costs over $100 billion for the Americans.
Yeah.
And he has, in the White House, there is a full-time projectionist on salary. They have a full cinema in the White House.
Brilliant.
And they have a full-time projectionist in case any members of the family want to go and watch a film.
Beautiful. It's so hard to press play on a DVD player, isn't it?
Now, when you look at that kind of expenditure compared to our royal family, so what if Kate Middleton wants 2 kitchens?
Yep.
It's a bargain, isn't it, the royal family?
She flashes us her bum every now and then, so we're getting our money's worth.
You're happy for it, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd love your views. Do you mind 56p being taken from your pocket to pay for the royal family? Do you think it's an outrage? Do you think they should have to pay for themselves? Do you think it's absolutely cheeky when you consider how hard up some people are in this country, that this family, this privileged family, who make a lot of money for themselves as well, are also being subsidised by the taxpayer to the tune of nearly £36 million a year? From 9 this morning, I'd love your call on 08459 455 555.
Apologies,
Right, chest weasel.
A little bit chesty. Now, with my politics, I should be against the royal family. This is why you were spoiling for a fight.
Well, I thought you would. I thought, I bet Ian's a Republican.
Yeah, but I quite like the royal family.
Why?
I have no intellectual argument for. All intellectual arguments say we should get rid of the royal family.
Why?
That they're an abomination.
That's not right.
Well, the intellectual argument is, I think. But the emotion... I'm a traditionalist, and my emotional argument is, I quite like them. I quite like them. Not the peripheral ones, not Fergie and all of those idiots, but the main core, the Queen, her racist husband, Charles and Andrew, and their kids.
Edward?
No, not Eddie. No.
What's wrong with Edward?
Edward? No.
What's wrong with Edward?
Well, what's right with Edward? Where could I start? But I quite like them, and I can't argue it any better than that.
Do you know why you like them? I'll vocalise it for you.
Please do.
I've worked it out.
Yeah.
It's because the royal family, they are part of the eccentricity and soap opera quality of this country.
I'll give you that.
Without the royal family, we'd be nothing.
That's maybe pushing it a little bit. The first point I'll give you, yeah.
Whenever I go abroad, people always ask, they say, have you met the Queen? I mean, they presume I have. I say I haven't met her.
Yeah.
And they always ask questions about the royal family.
Yeah.
They're fascinated around the world by the royal family.
Yeah.
Some people think we're bonkers for having a royal family, but they're all fascinated by them.
Makes us special.
When they come over to this country, they always want to go and see the Trooping of the Colour and where the Queen lives. They want to go to Windsor Castle, all those things. The royal family, without them, what would this country be? We'd be like America. From 9 this morning, do you mind 56p being taken from your pocket to pay for the royal family? 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Steve.
Morning.
Steve, why are you chuckling?
Just talking to you does me in.
Oh, it does you in, but it makes you excited, doesn't it?
Oh, I won't go that far.
You do it so often, though, Steve. I suspect. Permission to speak freely, Stephen. I think I'm the closest thing you've got to a friend.
No, I don't want no friends. They're all pains up there.
But so exactly. So you don't want any friends, but I'm the closest thing you've got. You've almost let me into your heart.
On the radio, it's because I can abuse you. Politically.
Well,
freedom of speech.
Which doesn't exist, as we've established.
There is. It costs you £80. But, it's worth paying it.
Who are you paying who are you paying £80 to go and talk freely to? It sounds very suspicious. Steve, you come on and abuse me, and what's great about our phone conversations is you never win. Let's see how you get on today. What have you got?
I always win in my own head.
Yeah, I know you do. No one else's. Chuggers, go on. What do you reckon?
No, well, actually, I did ring up, actually twist it around to... I thought when I first heard the conversation, it was about sort of the issue people telling the issue and all that, the homeless people.
The issue people selling the issue. You mean the big issue?
The big issue.
The magazine that's designed to help homeless people fend for themselves to a certain extent, yes.
Yeah, well, generally, they shouldn't... Society should get them sorted out. Surely they should take them off the streets and clean them up and re-educate them and put them back into society.
Put them where?
I don't know, in bed and breakfast, clean them up, get them re-educated and get them a job. Surely surely they should be up the same standard as me and you. You sit there on your money, I'll sit and people moan about, oh, look at them people, they're scumbags, they're lowlives. Well, they need help. But at the end of the day, it's no use just them selling a piece of paper to get themselves out of it. They need proper help and money.
OK, there will be some people arguing, Steve. Are you sure you're not a socialist?
No, I'm not socialist.
But the argument you've just put forward is pure socialism.
No, it's not socialist. It's being nice to people. It's bringing people up to a standard of living, isn't it? Everyone moans, oh, I've got my car, I've got my 3 holidays a year. Look at them scumbags. Why can't they do the same? Well, people are not all the same. We're all individual. Mentally, we're all different.
Stephen?
What?
This is amazing. You are a socialist and you don't know it.
I'm a far-rightist.
You're not. This is not a far-rightist policy. What? To get home... Hang on a minute, Steve. How is this?
How can you put a political agenda onto getting people off the street?
How is this?
It's not a political thing.
No, because the right would just have them moved out of town to another town. How can you say that? How can you say that getting homeless people off the street, cleaning them, putting them in a bed and breakfast, feeding them, educating them, helping them get work. I'm assuming as well you're also suggesting that we help those that have mental health issues.
Well, of course we are.
Welcome to the left, brother. Come on, comrade, give me a hug.
Go and kiss my Lala.
I'm not touching your Lala. Steve, you're a socialist and you don't know it. Well done. Getting home... Every now and then I'll agree with Steve. Very rarely, but every now and then. He's coming round. He's jumped over the fence. He's on the left.
He doesn't realise he's jumped.
He doesn't realise. He's jumped. Getting home... Just go through this philosophy again. He wants to get homeless people off the street, not put them in prison, not lock them up, not send them to the workhouse, not move them out of town. He wants to clean them, feed them, give them accommodation, educate them and help them get jobs.
Steve, that's a beautiful thing.
It's beautiful, comrade. It's beautiful. Well done. Ken in Luton, stay there. We'll come to you in a little bit. I'll come to you after the news. I'm running a bit late. 08459 455 555. Let's do 3 comments from Facebook on Chuggers. Alan says it's another way of raising funds. You get charities advertising on TV. Do the adverts annoy you so much that you think they should be restricted to 2 days a week? Who watches adverts these days? We fast forward on the Sky Plus. Michael says, I'd never give my name and address and bank details on the street or on my doorstep. And James says, let them shake a tin and collect money as often as they like, but hassling you in the street and trying to get you to sign up for a monthly donation, ban that altogether.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In East Hyde, there are roadworks on the lower Harpenden Road around Fars Lane. There are temporary traffic lights there and it is causing some delays in both directions. Also between Shefford and Henlow on the A507 as you head towards the A1, a skip lorry has broken down. It's causing queues on the approach from the Ampthill Road. Also the A1M northbound around Junction 6 for Welwyn Garden City, heavy going. And the M1 and northbound, we've got queues at Junction 10 for Luton exit Slip Road. The M25 anti-clockwise, very slow between Junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Several homes in Bletchley have been severely damaged following a fire this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. 4 homes were evacuated. 2 elderly residents were taken to hospital with minor injuries. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. So-called chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlow shopping area 2 days a week. And police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Football's world governing body FIFA has told the BBC a decision about the Uruguayan Liverpool striker Luis Suarez should be made within the next 24 hours following Tuesday's apparent World Cup biting incident. On the field, 2 goals from Lionel Messi helped Argentina to a 3-2 win over Nigeria. Both teams go through. Argentina and Manchester City fullback Pablo Zabaleta says Messi will be key to their hopes.
We know Messi is our main player, he's our captain, he means everything for this team, and obviously everyone who loves football around the world is enjoying and watching Messi playing in football.
France drew 0-0 with Ecuador last night but won their group with Switzerland second after beating Honduras 3-0. France will play Nigeria. Argentina will face Switzerland in the last 16. This afternoon, a draw for Germany against the USA would send both through. Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal face Ghana but are unlikely to progress. At Wimbledon, wins yesterday for Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic. Today, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer are in second round action. British number 1 Heather Watson is also on centre court as Russell Fuller reports.
After beating a top 20 player for the first time in her career in Eastbourne last week, Watson must now aim her sights even higher. Angelique Kerber stands at 7 in the world and has won 3 tour titles. But the way Watson now tries to impose herself on matches lends hope of a competitive contest. That match follows Rafa Nadal, Lucas Rosol 2. The Czech will hope to blast his way past Nadal as he did in such unforgettable style 2 years ago. Tony Nadal does not expect lightning to strike twice, though. He says his nephew is now moving better and with far less pain.
BBC Three Counties News and Sports. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, last 30 minutes of the show, it always gets busy, so if you want to call, I suggest you do it now. Here's what we're talking about. Chuggers, an area in... where exactly is it? I keep forgetting the... Where is it?
In Hemel. Marlowe's in Hemel.
Marlowe's in Hemel. Your microphone's on now, so you can speak.
I know. Isn't that great?
Fun times. The Marlowe's in Hemel, they are banning chugging for 5 days a week. So only 2 days a week can thou go and chuggis.
There has been an arrangement made.
OK, right.
Oh, are you echoing me? There's been an arrangement.
OK, so an arrangement has been made.
I may have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I do know about this arrangement.
We've yet to find, apart from Albert, the meat packer, there are very few people who are in support of chugging.
And we've not heard from one chugger yet.
That's the dream. That's the dream, is to get...
Normally we can't walk for chuggers.
Yeah.
Now we want to talk to them. Or where are they?
08459 455 555. Also, I'd love to speak to the two sides of the chugging coin. The chugger and the person who has willingly given their bank details to one.
The chuggy.
The chuggy. The chugger, the chuggy.
So if you've chugged or been chugged...
What?
08459 455 555.
I have to bite my tongue so often when I'm doing this show.
I know.
So often.
I think it's something about my accent
that
makes it sound worse.
Oh, OK. We'll just...
Didn't mean to make it sound bad.
So 08459 455 555. Can we find a job that is more loathed than the chugger? Because we hate those with the greatest respect. I don't know who they are. I'm sure they are wonderful people that have great lives, but we hate them when we see them down the street.
There was a thing about selling encyclopedias once upon a time, wasn't there?
I've got a great film for you to watch.
Thanks. There was a thing about selling encyclopedias once upon a time, wasn't there?
I've got a great film for you to watch, right? It's from 1962. It's a black and white documentary. Oh, no, but I can make it sound good. It's by the Maysles brothers, who are excellent. They did Grey Gardens, guys, Beulah. It's about Bible salesmen. It's brilliant. It's kind of the death of the door-to-door salesman, and they're going around trying to sell Bibles. Oh, it's...
Didn't Johnny Cash do that?
No, he was a singer. He was a singer.
He was a salesman at one point.
Did he sell knives? I think he sold knives door to door, didn't
he?
Really?
Or
imagine Johnny Cash turns up your door,
I'm Johnny
chewing his gum because he's off his face on speed.
No, this was before.
Oh, OK.
Before all that, yeah.
OK, well, anyway.
We think.
Can't libel the... Anyway, so we're talking about that. We're trying to find...
I'm Johnny Cash. Don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I am, actually.
Just some knives and
always
some country
are.
music.
Yeah.
So we're talking about that, and can we find a job worse than that? And then we've had this email from Ken in Redbourne about Jimmy Savile. We've been talking about Jimmy Savile today, as more stuff is going to come out. I'm no supporter of the guy, Savile, but as not a single allegation has been or will ever be tried in court, the media should forever use the term alleged in reference to them. So when we talk about, we should say alleged paedophile, Jimmy Savile, alleged child abuser, the alleged victims. I think Ken in Redbourne's got that wrong. I'm not quite sure. Is that is in some way disrespecting and disbelieving the alleged victims, isn't it? If you put that word in front of it, it's taking the power away from them again. Are you Ken, call in because I'd love to speak to you. Are you suggesting that you doubt that Jimmy Savile has... are you arguing this as a point of law, as a point of clarity, or are you trying to cast doubt on the women that have come forward and said these things? I don't know. Also keen to get your views on that, dear listener, whether you think that maybe we should be treading a little bit more carefully in the thorny park of child abuse that is Jimmy Savile's history. 08459 455 555. I got a bit lost in that sentence. Don't read too much into it. A different Ken. Ken is in Luton. Morning, Ken.
Right.
Ken, what would you want to say?
What's the difference between begging and chugging?
I don't know. What's the difference between begging and chugging?
There ain't no difference. Begging is against the law.
I wouldn't open with that one, Ken. It's not your strongest gag.
No, but what I'm saying is I watched a Panorama documentary.
Oh, what?
A Panorama documentary on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
About the Romanian gypsies that are begging in the streets of London.
OK.
Right?
Yep.
They dress up as Muslims, go about the...
Well, they quite often are Muslims, aren't they?
Yes. No, they're not.
I thought Romanians...
Gypsies.
Catherine, I'm looking to you for... I thought that a significant number of Romanians were Muslims.
No.
I was under that impression too. Let me check it out.
So she's going to go to Wikipedia and find out.
What's...
But I think the Romanian gypsies can be Muslims, Ken.
They most probably can, but they dress up as Muslims.
Well, if they're not Muslims, if they are Muslims, then what's wrong? What's your beef with them dressing up as Muslims?
Because they go round the Muslim mosque on a Friday.
Yeah.
Pretending they're Muslims.
Are they Muslims or not?
No.
How do you know they're not?
Panorama showed you it.
So Panorama said these people are not Muslims.
Yes,
they're just dressing up as Muslims.
Track these Romanian gypsies.
Right.
All through London, Croydon and Ilford and all over the place.
OK, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now...
Hang on one second, Catherine's got her hand up.
Muslim Roma are found in Turkey, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Albania, Egypt, Kosovo, Republic of Macedonia, Bulgaria, Romania, although it's a very small Muslim Romani group, exists in the Dobruja region of Romania, Croatia, Russia, Greece, Crimea and the Caucasus. So they're quite a lot.
Carefully, please.
I will say this
You
only
can
once.
have any religion in any sect, but what they are Romani gypsies, Catholic Romani gypsies.
OK, they're Catholics. You're specifically...
Apart from the ones in Turkey, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Albania,
don't do the...
Egypt...
Oh, she's doing the list again,
Caucasus,
Ken. We have to let her finish
Macedonia, Bulgaria, Dobruja.
I don't know, Ken.
Facts.
OK, facts. I'm going to turn our microphone off, Ken.
Now, what's the difference between them...
Oh, don't do another joke. The last one died so miserably.
So, police were stopping these Romanian gypsies and then letting them go again. For what? They take their details and then they let them carry on. And if you see the villas they got back in Romania, you would not believe it.
What villas have the Romanian gypsies who pretend to be Muslims got back in Romania?
What do you mean what they got? They're like... killed gypsies, the gypsies.
No, I didn't see... I'm assuming this was all shown in the documentary on Panorama, was it, Ken? I missed it, so I'll ask again. What villas have the Romani gypsies who come over here and pretend to be Muslims got?
Blooming great big ones, that's what they...
And they're getting that just from pretending to be Muslims, are they?
Listen to me carefully, Ian.
I will say this only once.
Get on YouTube.
eBay?
No, you...
Want to buy a Romani gypsy?
You don't want to buy one of them. You get on YouTube and...
No, I'm not going to get on YouTube. You tell me what you saw.
Me what I have seen, and I am telling you what I've seen.
OK, so what you saw was...
Well...
What you saw was that Romani gypsies come over here...
Yes.
Dress up as Muslims...
Yes.
Go to a mosque on a Friday night...
On a Friday morning.
On a Friday morning.
All day.
All right. So they've got to spend a Friday in a mosque...
Plus they're getting benefits for
Hang on. No, you're throwing benefits into the mix. Let's get this straight.
I have.
So,
now...
Romani gypsies...
You asked me...
I'm asking you this!
Jonathan, how do you know this? Well...
Jonathan?
Can I not believe Panorama then?
Jonathan?
Yes, Jonathan's...
I'm Iain.
No, when I say something...
You just called me Jonathan twice.
I said I spoke to Jonathan.
Yeah, I know, and we hear you speaking to Jonathan. And can I ask you, when you speak to Jonathan, why do you do a posh voice?
I don't do a posh voice.
You do a posher voice than this.
Oh, well,
Now, so let's just get this straight. I'm not doubting, but I just want to make sure you know what you're saying and I know what you're saying. So, and also we've got no other calls. So...
I might be on the tablets, but I'm not that... But it's just what I'm... Now, when I say...
No, shut up and let me ask you.
Well, go on in.
So you're saying... Romani gypsies come to this country, they dress up as Muslims, they go to a mosque all day Friday.
Yes.
They also get benefits. So from the money they get from benefits and pretending to be a Muslim...
Yes.
They can afford luxury villas in Romania.
Like the wrath-killed travellers.
That's what you're saying. They can afford luxury villas simply from benefits and pretending to be Muslims.
Yes.
I'm in.
I am in as well, but...
Unfortunately, though, those villas are in Romania. Who wants to go there?
You ain't seen them, Ian. Have a look at them.
OK, well, I'm up for that, Ken. I'm certainly going to go and pretend to be a Muslim.
One of them, they've got 6 kids living there.
Unbelievable.
You're just...
But what's that got to do, Ken? Sorry, I've just remembered where this started.
Chugging is begging, isn't it?
What's that got to do with chugging? What have Romani gypsies who come over here, pretend to be Muslims on a Friday and claim benefits and have villas in Romani, what's that got to do with chugging?
It's the same thing. They're begging...
It's not the same thing! Those young out-of-work actors are collecting money for pandas and children with AIDS. What's that got to do with Romanian gypsies coming over here, pretending to be Muslims on a Friday, claiming benefits, and then having giant villas in Romani?
Yeah, and getting Mercedes parked outside their...
And now you're throwing Mercedes into it?
Yeah.
What's that got to do with chuggers?
What do you mean? It's begging, isn't it?
Thank you very much indeed, Ken. 08459 455 555.
You know, the dressing Muslim and going to the mosque all day on a Friday?
Yeah.
That sounds like being Muslim.
It sounds pretty
pretending.
much.
I mean, they're really going for the method, aren't they?
It really sounds like... I don't know how... Do mosques give out free money to people on Fridays? Because if so, I'm there.
Call me now, 08459 455 555.
If it is, you can get a headscarf. I can, wear whatever Muslim men wear. We'll be there Friday. I'll get some money.
I think we might get found out.
Why?
Because I'm not really a Muslim. I don't know the first thing about it.
Just pretend.
My Arabic's ropey at best.
Ben's in Wickham. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning.
I've got no idea. I'm hoping your point is better than Ken's. What would you like to say?
No, all I'm saying is I spend a lot of time in Windsor, probably 8 or 10 a day in Pescott Street. I don't know what they're doing. I don't ask what they're doing. If I get approached, I simply say, if it involves my name and address, my telephone number or money, forget it. And they just walk away. Because it's going to be one of them 3 things.
You're Ben. I'm making up 2 things about you, and I'm making. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. You sound quite posh, and you sound like you're over 50.
Posh.
Posh.
Well, if they heard when I come up from Somerset,
I see.
You wouldn't say something like that.
That's the real Ben. But I would imagine that because I get approached and I kind of say no thanks, not today, and I walk on. Because they give you that look. They clock you, don't they, about 10 metres away.
They do.
But I'd imagine they would see you as not a soft target and that they would let you pass freely. Maybe someone younger and less confident in their stride, I think they do get tackled, don't they?
Oh, they do. They target. I know they target people.
What are you doing in Pescott Street?
Well, I have a part-time occupation, and I'm retired in Windsor.
A part-time occupation? I'm intrigued, Ben. Am I allowed to ask more?
If I said charity work, you wouldn't believe me. But I don't go chugging around the street.
You don't work in that retro shop, do you?
Sorry?
You don't work in that retro shop that's down the bottom of Pescott Street? The one that had a radiogram in the window for a few weeks?
No.
Okay.
No,
do you know the shop I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's the best. Whenever I'm in Windsor, which isn't so often these days, it's the best shop in the world. Although my youngest son was scared to go in there the other day. I think he could smell history.
Ah, that's the point.
Yes, he could smell history.
It can give that impression of sort of taking you back in time, and I can understand that for you. I'm a bit spooky, perhaps.
Ben, listen, it's nice to talk to you. I'm intrigued. Prescott Street is a part of the world I know very, very well. I grew up all around there, but I shall ask no more.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Between Shefford and Henlow on the A507 as you head towards the A1, a skip lorry had broken down earlier, but looking on the speed sensors now, we don't seem to have any delays anymore, so that's hopefully cleared up. The A1M southbound on the sensors, slow between junction 8 for Hitchin and 7 for Welwyn. Also very heavy on the northbound carriageway around junction 6 for Welwyn. Then on the speed sensors, the M1 London bound, very heavy between junction 10 for Luton and 6 for the M25. Also ongoing delays on the M25 anti-clockwise, queues between junction 18 for Chorleywood and 16 for the M40. Public transport, no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Alice, thank you very much. Hey, look at that, it's 8:46, we're nearly done. It's nearly the weekend, guys. 8:46, Thursday, the 26th of June. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Several homes in Bletchley have been severely damaged following a fire this morning when gas cylinders exploded in a garage. 4 homes were evacuated and 2 elderly residents were taken to hospital with minor injuries. If you want to see the incredible photos, then go to our Facebook page and stay tuned because Justin Dealey is there and will give us a report on the latest. Action is being taken in Hemel Hempstead to limit on-street direct debit fundraising. Chuggers will only be able to operate in the Marlowe's shopping area 2 days a week. And police in Milton Keynes have released without charge a man who was arrested on suspicion of murder after the death of an elderly woman in Stony Stratford. Let's get the weather with Sarah Thornton.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning to you. Yes, we start this morning with some really lovely sunshine across the 3 counties. The temperatures are doing beautifully as a result. We're up in the mid-teens just now. But we are going to see an increase in clouds slowly through the day today. Shouldn't spoil things, though. We should stay dry through most of daylight hours. It's this evening when we see some showery activity spreading towards us. Before that, top temperature of 19, possibly 20 Celsius. That's 68 in Fahrenheit. Showers come in through this evening, though, and those showers will be with us through the next couple of days. We will have drier interludes. We may well even start tomorrow morning with some dry weather, but showers get going quite quickly and we'll keep them through the afternoon. They could be heavy and thundery as well. Top temperature between the showers tomorrow, 17 Celsius. A good chance of picking some showers up again on Saturday across the 3 counties, but Sunday should be drier. The risk of a light shower, but mostly if it's dry, prolonged weather you're looking for, Sunday is the day for you this weekend. Temperatures at the weekend, well, they've taken a bit of a knock in the wake of those showers, but in the best of any drier, brighter weather, again up into the high teens. And by Monday, once more, we'll be talking about the risk of some showers. So today, dry, some good spells of sunshine this morning, clouding up through this afternoon. More, of course, on the website.
Every weekday morning from 9.
Good morning, welcome to the JVS show.
Your local stories.
Have you had to rebuild your life after being a victim of crime? Do you think it's inhumane to keep people in prison for life? Do you think that immigration needs to stop?
Your local life.
Why do 70% of this country feel immigration is wrong?
We've actually got an open doors policy.
I am just so angry listening to some of them people.
What the government are doing, they'll start introducing American-type sentencing, like 200 years in prison.
The JVS show.
British people are not xenophobic.
Weekday mornings from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
OK, we've been talking about the explosion and the fire that's taken place in Bletchley earlier on this morning. It was in Turnberry Close, and our reporter Justin Dealey has been there all morning. Justin, we've seen the photos. If you haven't, facebook.com/BBC3CR. They are quite incredible, the damage that's been done. No one's seriously injured. That's the miracle.
Absolute miracle. I mean, 2 people have been taken to hospital with shock. The explosion happened just before 5 o'clock this morning. 4 properties affected. affected. Look at that picture on Facebook. It's a scene of just absolute devastation. The explosion happened in a garage, which is situated in one of the back gardens here. Well, the 4 gardens, there's nothing left of them because all you can see is rubble. The back doors they've gone through, also large parts of the roofs here, they've disappeared as well. Reports of debris flying, just a terrifying experience for all concerned. I've spoken to Bruce Hawkins a moment ago. He's one of the locals living here, and here's what he had to say. Well, Bruce, we're looking at the damage here. Quite incredible, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's amazing no one was hurt. Actually, all the debris, it's everywhere, isn't it?
What about the damage to your property inside? We're hearing that doors were blown off the hinges here.
Yes, doors won't open. The front door was blown completely open, and we see it's all gone. It's all out of square somehow. Property is.
And the explosion itself, it must have woken you up. Just how loud was that explosion?
It was ever so loud. It was just like a bomb going off, you know. Yeah.
I'm sure that you've spoken to your family about this, so you must be, looking at the damage here, you must be grateful that you're still alive.
Well, it is amazing, isn't it, really? You can see for yourself what devastation there is. Yeah.
So now the hard work starts trying to put your property back together?
Well, yeah. It's a job to know where to start, isn't it?
You can almost hear the shock in his voice. That was Bruce, one of the locals. Iftab has come up to the radio car as well here live in Bletchley. Iftab, this explosion, we've seen the devastation. I'm sure it woke you up just before 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, definitely. 5 in the morning. We were certain it was an earthquake or something along that lines. And then we thought maybe something's crashed into the house, so we were looking for like light aircraft, etc. But eventually obviously saw the smoke bellowing out and... yeah, it's quite scary.
Absolutely. Everyone here seems to be in shock, a bit like your kids as well, on the way to school this morning.
Yeah, definitely. The whole street was out in the morning. It was quite exciting, but hopefully, luckily, no one's hurt, so it's all good.
Yeah, you can say exciting because nobody, thankfully, has been hurt. But just lastly, what I'm hearing is great reports about the community. Everyone coming together, everyone making sure that everyone was okay.
Yeah, definitely. 5 in the morning and the street was packed. Everyone was out. You know, everyone was trying to get involved or help in some sort of way. Yeah, it was good. It was nice.
Iftab, I'll let you crack on. Thank you very much indeed. That's Iftab there, on his way to school with his kids. Ian, again, the pictures. I was a bit shocked this morning because Ian Wilson from the fire service spoke to us. He wouldn't allow me to look at the properties just after 7:30. Off the back of our interview, he took me into those back gardens, and wow, it really is an absolute miracle. We can thank God this morning that nobody's been killed here.
Justin, excellent stuff, mate. Thank you very much indeed. The pictures are on Facebook if you want to have a look, and it's quite incredible. Very quickly, we've got an email from Aidan. Ian, I don't have a problem with chuggers. Admittedly, his career has taken a bit of a dive, but he was great on the multicoloured swap shop and extras.
It's true. Let's not talk about that thing where he got naked.
Naked Jungle. Very quickly, Matt. I know we'll do Kelly in a second. Kelly,
you were telling us about Matt and how he did.
Teach you about Matt. It's a cartoon on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. It's a tennis court. The audience are there, the crowd, and one member of the crowd is shouting, "Come on, Andy, bite him."
Tennis is not a contact sport.
Let's just take a moment to enjoy that. Picture is of a tennis court. A woman is shouting, "Come on, Andy, bite him." That's the music that Matt plays every time he faxes off his latest cartoon drawing. He still sends them by fax. Sends it off, plays this music, sparks up a fat cigar, has 2 fingers of whiskey, and then cries at his rubbish cartoons. Right, Kath?
And then he gets the cheque.
Gets a big fat cheque for drawing stuff. Kelly's in Buckinghamshire. Kelly, you've taken offence at a phone call we had earlier on from Ken. Kelly? Kelly? Oh, Kelly's dropped off. We'll get Kelly back. Ken was saying, talking about the documentary I missed, Panorama, where apparently Romani gypsies were coming over here, pretending to be Muslims on a Friday, going to the mosque, dressing as Muslims, and also signing on and sending their money back home and purchasing luxury villas in Romania.
We've had a text through from very concerned OC. Clear why your TV career came to a halt.
Oh.
It's funny, I saw you on telly.
I'm on telly every Saturday for the whole summer, guys. But
Trashing the BBC's flagship documentary programme can't be a good career move. I'm not sure we had a good synopsis of that programme.
Who's this guy? OC? Is this Christian O'Connell again? OC, A, you should have phoned up. Secondly, I wasn't trashing. What point did I trash the Panorama? I was just asking for clarity of what happened, OC. Isn't it funny how people hear what they want to hear? I'm on the television every Saturday night, being very well paid throughout the summer. I'm also in negotiations for other television work at the moment. Thanks very much indeed. Have we got? Has she gone?
What?
Oh, that's disappointing.
Kelly, give us a ring back if you're still listening. We really want to hear from you.
She might have to go to work or something.
Well, hang on. Well, it's not Friday, so she can't be going down to the mosque to pretend to be a Muslim. Couldn't quite get Ken's point there. Didn't quite get Ken's point. It wasn't dissing Panorama, for goodness sakes, you silly sausage. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Let's have a quick look at some of the front pages. I say some of the front pages. I've got it down to 3. The 3 important ones, i.e. the 3 that you read. Daily Express, vitamin D cuts blood pressure. They've done health stories every day this week, haven't they? The Daily Mail, ban fruit juice at dinner time. And The Sun, wronger. Cops called in over payday loan firms' fake legal letters. That's an incredible story. Harriet's in Cambridge. Good morning, Harriet.
Morning, Ian.
What can I do for you?
Well, I was thinking that traffic wardens might be worse than, what do you call them?
Chuggers.
Chuggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking they're probably on a more level footing, actually, with this whole hatred thing.
Yeah.
I think, actually, more hated than the chuggers themselves are the politicians that don't provide the legislation to stop them doing it.
Here we go. I had a great moment with a traffic warden yesterday. Because in some places you can phone up to get your parking ticket now. So you can... in that there London and other places around Beds, Herts and Bucks, I think, you can, instead of if you haven't got money to put it in the machine, you can phone up and pay with your card. And I was doing this in London yesterday, but I was stood quite some distance away from my car.
Oh, no.
No, it's great. And I saw the traffic warden go up to my car. I thought, yeah, beautiful. And he started tapping into his machine, and his eyes lit up as he realised I didn't have a ticket. And he started processing the ticket. And I got right to the last minute, and I just went up to him, mate, I'm just doing it on the phone. Oh, his little heart broke. His little commission just floated away into the sky, Harriet. Floated away into the sky.
My boyfriend drives a van for one of the supermarket delivery companies.
Oh, yeah.
And
Ocado?
I'm not going to give any names.
Tesco?
It's Ocado.
Oh, see, they're the posh ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have stated on their things that they have inside their van so they can check up on it.
Yeah.
That they are allowed to park on double yellow lines when doing a drop-off.
Whoa! Hang on a second. We're running out of time, but you've just dropped a bombshell. You're telling me Ocado and possibly other supermarket delivery services...
That's what it says in their book.
They have the right to park on double yellowed lines?
Just when they're doing drop-off.
No, Harriet, listen, we've got to end it there. We might look into that. I can't believe that for a moment. Can you, Catherine?
Well, people need groceries.
Of course they need groceries, but they're allowed to stop. Oh, what a shame the show is ending. I'm hoping that JVS will drop his nonsense phone in about the Queen and will pick up this. I suspect he won't.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A1M looking much heavier than normal at the moment. The southbound carriageway very heavy between junction 8 for Hitchin and 6 for Welwyn. We've had an update from Richard on the northbound carriageway, extremely slow around junction 6 for Welwyn. In Kings Langley, the A41 is queuing as you head towards the M25. Then on the M25 itself, the anti-clockwise carriageway very slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. The M1 London bound around junction 13 for Bedford looking very slow. Public transport has no reported problems. I'm Alice Glossop, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Alice. I've just spoken to the JVS team. They've considered it, but they're not going with Ocado parking on double yellow lines. Instead, they're still sticking with, do you mind 56 pence being taken to pay for the royal family? I'm back tomorrow at 6. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It was a close call, though. Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Thursday. It's 9 o'clock and on the big phone-in. Do you mind 56p being taken from you?